Hi, everybody, and welcome to Nelson Field in Bellaire for the News Channel 7 Game of the Week. Scott Noley here, joined alongside today by Monroe Central head coach Jay Sircosta. Jay, glad to have you here with us today. And a classic battle between two arch rivals meeting for the 91st time, and what a great ball game we have here today.
Well, this is a great rivalry, a great matchup, and I think you're going to see a lot of great football today. We're looking at two outstanding players on each side. We're looking at a great running back from Martins Ferry, and Chad Brinker has over 1,800 yards. And we're looking at a quarterback from Bellaire, Ty Masciarelli, over 1,800 yards. Both of them over 20-some touchdowns. It's going to be exciting.
Of course, we've had rain here most of overnight and then all throughout the morning. The field between the 30 and 30 was soaked early this morning, but they have since put down some sawdust to try and take care of some of that moisture. Do you think the weather will play a factor in today's ball game?
Well, the rain stopped right now, and if it stays stopped, that'll help. But middle of the field, Scott, is pretty muddy, and I think it's going to get worse as the game goes on. But Bellaire throws the ball well in bad weather, and I know that Ferry's going to rely on running games, so it should be interesting.
One of the great matchups in Ohio Valley football. Up to get first time. Stay next. Ferry, it should be a great one. To Nelson Field in Bellaire. You're getting a shot of that field right now that we were talking about in the open. It actually extends all the way down really to each 25 where the major portion of the field is beaten up. Right in between that center portion. Bellaire won the opening toss. They've elected to receive, so Martins Ferry will be kicking off to get this game underway here, Tur. There is that trophy, the Sparky Trophy, of course, that the two teams will be playing for today. It's down on the near sideline. Of course, Bellaire would like to keep that trophy here in Bellaire, and the Bellaire Big Reds are running a pretty big winning streak. In fact, they've won 29 straight regular season games. Their last regular season loss happened in the 1994 season finale. Who beat them? The Martins Ferry Purple Riders. That year, the final score 35-27 in favor of the Purple Riders, and they'd like to duplicate that here today. And I think we could probably expect a high-scoring affair in normal conditions today. We'll have to wait and see what happens with all this weather. These two teams do possess great offense. Chad Coyne puts his foot to it, and we are underway. Down, and it'll be returned now by Nolan. Up the middle, breaks a tackle and gets over the 25 and up to about the 29-yard line. So the Big Reds will get their first crack on offense, and Bellaire is led by strong quarterback Ty Masciarelli. He leads a very talented backfield. Also back there with him, Quinn Campbell at fullback. Clint Lekanudos is the tailback. The flanker is Richie Materkoski. The split end, David Delong. Ryan Snider is the tight end. J.J. Schmidly, Jim McFeley, Jed LaRoche, Tom Poe, and Aaron Chirpas are the men up front in the trenches. First down and 10 for the Big Reds. Ball on their own 29-yard line. Split backs to get us underway. Fumble on the opening snap, and it is recovered by Martins Ferry. We talked about the weather, and what do you know? On the first play from scrimmage, it causes havoc for Bellaire. There it is.
Yeah, you'll see here, and they're right in that center portion of the field, Scott, where it's really bad. And the ball was mishandled there right off the opening snap. Great break for Martins Ferry with great field position.
Sam Cruz was the man who recovered at that time for Martins Ferry. And wow, what a great start for the Purple Riders to get an opportunity to start deep inside Bellaire territory. And on a day like this, you're probably not going to get field position like this too often. Quick pitch in the backfield goes to talented Chad Brinker, trying to get around the end, and he can't. Stopped after a gain of about 3 yards. Let's go ahead and take a look at that starting offensive setup for the Martins Ferry Purple Riders. They are led by quarterback Fred Ray, who has been impressive so far this season. Tony Collette is a very unsung hero in that backfield as well. Brinker, over 1,800 yards rushing. Yourkovich and Coyne, two of the finest wide receivers around. Cruz is the tight end now. Lucy, Craig, Bruney, and Zinn, along with Shreve, are the men up front in the trenches for the Purple Riders. A gain of 3 on first down. It's 2nd and 7. Ball on the Bellaire 24-yard line. No score yet. We're not even a minute into the contest. Ray under center. And Bellaire jumped, I believe.
I think what happened there, Scott, is Martins Ferry gave them a little hard count, and they were a little bit anxious on the inside and jumped across in the neutral zone, and encroachment call here is going to cost Bellaire 5 yards.
Our referee today is Jack Prettyman, who you see right there with the call. The umpire is Steve Schaefer. The line judge is Joe Blatt. The linesman is Tom Bechtel. The back judge is Joe Calder. The defensive starting lineup for the Bellaire Big Reds looks like this. Ostrander and Kaldor are the defensive ends. Poe and Carter the tackles. Preston and Dyer are the linebackers. Chirpas is up front as well. Lekanudos and Materkoski at the corners. David Delong is the strong safety. Ryan Snider, the free safety. On 2nd and 2, Chad Brinker gets about 4 or 5 there and gets it over the 15 and down to the 14. It'll be 1st and 10 for the Riders. Ball on the Bellaire 14-yard line.
Nice surge that time by the Martins Ferry's offensive left side there. And Chad Brinker went straight ahead, picked up a first down.
Coach, you know, in conditions like this today, you get an opportunity at getting great field position. You've really got to be able to stick one into the end zone this early.
You must take advantage of it and take advantage of it early.
1st and 10, ball on the 14-yard line for the Purple Riders. Eyes set behind Ray this time. Brinker, the top man. They give him the pitch. Trying to get around end. Breaks one tackle, stays on his feet, and is over the 10 and inside the 5-yard line.
I don't know, Scott, if Martins Ferry has seen something in the films that they've viewed prior to going into this ball game, but right now they're going at that left side. Here we have Chad Brinker, as you'll see on the replay, take the pitch to the left side and cut back, and then again what he's done all year in his whole career, come out of tackles.
You see how strong he is there. He has 224 carries coming into tonight, 1,877 yards, 27 touchdowns so far on the 97 campaign. He would love to make it 28. 2nd and 2, ball on the 6. Brinker gets over the 5 this time. He'll be close to a Martins Ferry first down. We'll have to wait and see for the marker there from the officials, but it would appear he's near the mark for a first down, and it would be 1st and goal if so.
And
the
again,
referees are going to bring the change out.
Scott, going to that left side again, they're utilizing twins to the right side of the formation and going back to the tight end side on the left, and that was a straight ISO there, and it is very, very close.
And first down, just by the nose of the football for the Martins Ferry Purple Riders. It was close. The nose of the ball just resting for the first down. And there's head coach Dave Bruney of the Martins Ferry Purple Riders pacing already early on here. I think he knows the severity of this offensive drive right here. He'd love to get an early touchdown and be one up on Bellaire. 1st and goal from the 4. Eye set with Ray. Quick pitch to Brinker. Gets into the end zone. Touchdown. Chad Brinker. That's touchdown number 28 on the season. And Martins Ferry has an early 6-0 lead on the Bellaire Big Reds. They take advantage of that early turnover on the fumble from Ty Masciarelli and turn it into 6 points.
Here again, Chad Brinker showing his strength after squaring his shoulders and turning the ball, turn upfield, takes it on in for the touchdown. And again, that whole drive, Scott, was solely to their left, to Bellaire's right defensive side.
As you said, it appears maybe the coaches might have seen something in some film preparation prior to today's contest that would lead them to believe that that's where they can expose this Bellaire defense to run to their left side, to Bellaire's right. On that drive, it worked. The extra point try by number 3, Chad Coyne, out of the hold of Nick Yourkovich. Snap down, kick up, and it's good. 7-0 in favor of the Martins Ferry Purple Riders with 9:32 left to play here in the opening quarter on the City of Bellaire Hospital scoreboard. The Martins Ferry Purple Riders strike first. Let's go ahead and take a break. Bellaire will get another shot at it when we come back. 7-0 Ferry in the first quarter. Martins Ferry on that drive, they were really in the good portion of the field on that entire drive.
Yes, we mentioned they went to their left side entirely that drive, and that's a good portion of the field from the hash out, so they had pretty good footing there.
Our Mike Anthony's on the sidelines today. In fact, he's covering the Martins Ferry sideline, and Mike, has to be a lot of excitement down there after that quick strike by the Purple Riders.
Come on, we got to get him down now. Come on, Chad.
Coyne ready to put the ball back into play. A low kick that'll be picked up by one of the up men for the Bellaire Big Reds, and a good return all the way out to the 45-yard line. Dusty LaRoche that time on the return. Number 88 gets it all the way out to the 45. A great return, and here it is. You see the short tick. In fact, it looked like Coyne lost his footing a little bit when he went to put the boot to it, and the return gets it up to the 45. David Bloomquist is on the far sideline today and is covering the Bellaire Big Reds. David?
Thanks a lot, Scott. Jim McFeley, after that opening fumble by Bellaire, came to the sidelines. McFeley's the center. He said, it ain't no big thing. Let's go out and do what we know what we can do. This team has confidence, and we'll see if they can put it together right here.
Lekanudos looking to run, or excuse me, not Lekanudos, Masciarelli looking to run, turns it upfield. When he went to cut back inside, lost his footing, still a gain of close to 5. It'll be 2nd down and 5 now for the Big Reds. Ball near midfield at about the 49-yard line. There's that Purple Riders starting defense. They were only there for one play last time. Leonard and Weaver are the ends. Lucy and Cruz the tackles. The backers are Craig, Zann, and Brinker, along with Jones, the defensive backs, Cash, Yourkovich, and Coyne. 2nd and 5, ball on the 48. Handoff goes to the fullback, Quinn Campbell, but there's a penalty flag before the play gets underway. False start against the Bellaire Big Reds.
Those first 2 plays that Bellaire has run from scrimmage are actually 1 and then the penalty. They've lined up in a trips formation to this side with the 1 setback. The first play, it appeared as though Martins Ferry had great coverage in the secondary, and Ty was just patient and waiting for somebody to come open, couldn't find anybody, and just ran the football.
So the loss of 5 makes it 2nd down and 9. Ball moved back to the 44. We're still in the first quarter. 8:35 left to play. 7-0 in favor of the Purple Riders. Bellaire on just their 2nd drive of the afternoon. Handoff goes to the fullback. That's Quinn Campbell. He'll churn ahead for a gain of about 3 or 4 that time. Still going to make it 3rd down and long. Looking like it about 3rd down and 7. And long 3rd down plays are not what you want to be in today with the conditions that we are in. The rain has stopped for now. We'll see if it returns or not. It rained hard all morning long, and you can see there on the field, they have done the best that they can to try and get the majority of the moisture out of there. When we arrived here early this morning at about 11 o'clock, that area of the field right there was nearly like a lake, and they have gotten most of that moisture out of there by dropping that sawdust-like mixture onto the field. Masciarelli wants to pass. Pressured, going to put it up, looking for Materkoski, coming to the near sideline. Can't make the catch, but there's a penalty flag from the backfield, and I think they're going to call defensive holding.
I think we might have an offensive interference here, Scott. At least it appeared as though the way the officials were pointing.
It's going to go the other way.
Yeah.
They're going to call it defensive interference.
Yep, you're right.
Pass interference is the call against the Martins Ferry Purple Riders. Masciarelli that time just kind of lofted the ball up there, and it's going to be a hard situation for him to try and get a good handle on that, because once the ball is placed down at the line of scrimmage and then snapped back to him, you can expect a good bit of mud to be on that football, and he got that one up there. It laid up there a bit.
Yeah, there was a lot of air underneath it.
Materkoski made an attempt, but he was interfered with. 1st and 10, ball on the Ferry 38-yard line. Snap back to Masciarelli. Pitch to Lekanudos, coming to the near side, trying to make a cut. Yourkovich is there, though, and pulls him down after a gain of close to about 3. It'll be 2nd down and about 7 now for the Bellaire Big Reds. Lekanudos, another one of those strong athletes for the Bellaire Big Reds. He's their main man out of the backfield at tailback. 69 carries so far on the year, 593 yards rushing. Also through the air, 21 receptions, 403 yards, and 15 touchdowns combined on the ground and through the air. He leads the team, other than Masciarelli, in touchdowns scored. He's 2nd right behind Ty. Masciarelli, by the way, has a total of 34, 26 through the air, 8 rushing. Handoff goes to Quinn Campbell. Breaks a tackle and gets through there and keeps his feet. Oh, and he had blown his forward progress down. But boy, what a great job to keep his feet moving. Finally blown dead, though, at about the 30-yard line. And we'll see it here on the replay. Don't you know, you always tell those players, keep your legs churning.
I'll tell you, that's a tough call right there to go against Bellaire. It appeared as though his legs were continuing to churn, and no one really had him stopped as far as forward progress, but it's brought back.
It'll be 3rd down and 2 now. Ball on the 30-yard line. Campbell, the man in the backfield behind Masciarelli this time. Lekanudos will split out wide. Lekanudos in motion. Rolling is Masciarelli. He's got an open field in front of him, wide open in fact. A great block there. Touchdown. Great block that time downfield, and he gets into the end zone for the touchdown. Quinn Campbell put the key block there, and it's time Masciarelli who goes into the end zone from 30 yards, and Bellaire is on the scoreboard. They trail by 1 as we await the extra point try. And we'll see it here on the replay.
They operated out of a tight trips that time, had a little misdirection. He rolled to his right, and there was a lot of field in front of him. He
Great
takes it
block
on
there
in.
for the score. Our David Bloomquist is on the far sideline. David, what do you have?
Well, Scott, you mentioned good blocks. Clint Lekanudos, if you can see it on the replay, also picked up the backside pressure with a nice block. That allowed Masciarelli to find the open field, and you're going to see him tuck and run a lot this game because the ball's been in the middle of the field. The middle of the field is horrible. Ty keeps looking at the sidelines and holding his hands out like he can't feel the football. So look for Bellaire to run the ball a lot, maybe with Masciarelli rolling out and tucking it.
What could be a big play right there. Justin Homer misses the extra point try, so it stays 7-6 in favor of Ferry. And there you see it. A good run that time by Ty Masciarelli. We mentioned that not only does he have 26 touchdowns through the air, but coming into today, he also had 8 touchdowns on the ground as well. Give him 9, and he had well over 300 yards rushing. In fact, he had 334 yards rushing on 52 carries coming into today's ball game, and he adds 30 more to that total right there.
Scott, you know that's what makes him so dangerous is they have to respect his arm, and then when you get him spread out, and he'll, take off running with the football, and he's deceiving as far as his speed. He has good speed, and it was evidence right there. He took it in untouched almost.
So Bellaire will put it back into play, now down by 1, 7-6. High kick. It'll come down, and that's returnable. Picked up, and is going to be brought back that time by Dan Jones, and he's got a great return all the way out near the 45. They'll mark him out at about the 42-yard line. Great job by Danny Jones to get good field position out for Martins Ferry. And that's key in today's ball game, how well these kickoff teams and kick return teams are going to play.
Here you'll see the return here. Takes the ball to the outside, gets on the good portion of the field, picks up a couple nice blocks here, and then takes it on down in great field position.
LaRoche is the man who finally knocks him out of bounds at the 42-yard line. Ferry, though, last time had it deep inside Bellaire territory, starting on the 24. And Bellaire jumps again. Freddie Ray has done an excellent job there on his call.
Yeah, and again, I think you probably saw there a hard count by Martins Ferry's quarterback, Ray, and that brought the middle of the Big Reds line off into the neutral zone, and that's another penalty.
And give them 5. It'll be 1st and 5 now. Ball moved up to the 46-yard line. Bellaire trailing by 1, 7-6. Martins Ferry here on just their second drive of the afternoon. They scored on their opening drive after a fumble from Ty Masciarelli on the first play of the ball game. And I sent behind Ray with Collette and Brinker. On 1st down and 5 from the 46. They'll give the handoff to Brinker. He's got big-time running room. He's into Bellaire territory, and he's going to go. Chad Brinker goes 54 yards for a Martins Ferry touchdown. And just like that, the Purple Riders strike again.
You can see there what a great back Chad Brinker is. And they ran a trap that side, or the left side. Here you'll see it on the replay. They pulled the backside guard and tackle, picked up a couple nice blocks, and they turned it on down the sidelines.
And you know what, Coach? They have so many guys up in the box. Once he got past the line of scrimmage, forget about it with his speed.
Yes, sir.
Another important extra point try here from Chad Coyne. Yourkovich is the holder. The snap is a good one. The hold is down. The kick is up. Hits the upright, and it's no good. So it keeps it a 7-point ball game at 13-6. Each team has now mixed an extra point. That one just missing as it hits the upright. But Martins Ferry strikes again, and now there's 5:37 remaining in the first quarter. And what were we saying about maybe not having a high-scoring game in these muddy conditions? Forget about that. These teams have 2 fantastic offenses. They are both loaded with great talent, and you're not going to keep either one of these teams off the scoreboard.
Yeah, the field conditions right now really doesn't seem to be affecting either ball club, Scott. And I'll tell you, this might be one of those ball games that whoever has the ball last might have the opportunity. But, you know, talked about Chad Brinker and his stats at the beginning of the game. And one thing it didn't mention, I think Chad's had 3 straight 300-yard-plus games, and that's unbelievable. And the way he's starting out here today, you know, who knows?
Well, we know he's got over 50 because he just ran for 54 yards right there, and he carried a lot of the workload on the drive that started at the 24-yard line and went for their first touchdown. So Martins Ferry, 2 possessions, 2 scores. Chad Coyne to kick it off. A little better footing that time to get the ball underway. And it'll come down and it's fumbled. And who has it? Ferry might be on top of it, but there's a mad scramble. And the officials say Bellaire was able to get back on top of it. Wow. Nolan that time lost the handle as he was running up on it. It was a kick that was dropping and coming end over end at him. Hit him in the breadbasket and rolled right out. And Ferry nearly got another huge break. They would have had that ball inside the 30. For Bellaire, they cannot afford turnovers. That deep in their own territory especially. Trailing 13-6, they come back out. They'll split the triplets out wide this time. One man in the backfield behind Masciarelli. Quick pitch in the backfield and the carry from Jimmy Preston. And he stays up. Hasn't been knocked down yet. Finally pushed out of bounds at the Martins Ferry 34-yard line. Great run that time. And if it's not for Don Cash, he may be in the end zone for 6.
Here you'll see on the replay, they went trips right and they had Preston offset to the left. They ran a quick toss that way, and again, some broken tackles there. And I think they thought they had him at least maybe knocked out of bounds, but he went right down the sidelines.
Gives Bellaire great field position at the Martins Ferry 34-yard line. 1st and 10 from there now for Bellaire. One man in the backfield, that's Preston again. Trip split out to the far side. Masciarelli looking to set up the screen. Has Preston, makes the catch, and he's down near the 20 at the 21-yard line. Move the chains. 1st down, Bellaire. The passing game working good there as Masciarelli did a nice job on the rollout.
There you'll see a lot of patience shown here by Ty. Just dumps the ball off the man out of the backfield, Preston, and he takes it down near the 20-yard line.
Nice job concentration-wise by Preston as well on the over-the-shoulder catch. Bellaire will send Snider, Materkoski, and Lekanudos out to the near side. They'll give the handoff to Preston up the middle, breaks a couple of tackles, stays on his feet. He's over the 15 and down to the 14-yard line. A gain of 7 that time on 1st down. It's 2nd and 3.
Here you'll see just right up the middle, a straight dive handoff. And what they did there is pull the backside guard, a little bit of misdirection, and we're seeing some great efforts by the running backs today.
Coyne that time on the tackle, or Preston may have gone into the end zone. Clock turning down to 4:20 remaining in the opening quarter, but both these teams have struck quickly in this opening quarter. Masciarelli, handoff again, going to Preston, not much running room that time. Good job defensively by the Purple Riders to stand him up right at the line of scrimmage. Joe Craig, one of the first men in on the tackle that time, one of the linebackers for the Purple Riders, and no gain.
That was a little cross-buck action in there that time. They gave it to the first man, and the Purple Riders did a real nice job up front. Basically operating out. Now they're into a 50 defense.
Gain of 1. Let's call it 3rd and 2. Masciarelli, handoff to Lekanudos, trying to get outside around the end. Can't. And he's dropped down right at the 14-yard line. It'll be 4th down and 2 for Bellaire. And all of a sudden, Martins Ferry really stacking him up inside. Brinker, one of the men in on the tackle that time for the Purple Riders. Ball on the 14. It'll be 4th down and 2. But where you're at on the football field, you probably don't even want to think about attempting a field goal with all that muddiness. So they'll go ahead and go for it. And why not with the offense they have? They're going to have to waste a timeout, though, here, I think.
Yeah, the clock's running down. And
clock running down, and they looked like they weren't really sure on what they wanted to do there coming out of the huddle. 3 minutes to go in the first quarter. We'll have a key 4th down situation when we come back. It's 13-6 Ferry on the City of Bellaire Hospital scoreboard. Back with more after this. Field in Bellaire. Let's go down to our David Bloomquist, who has something for us. David?
Well, I don't know if it's worth anything, Scott, but I'll give it a shot. But one thing I wanted to comment on, we have seen a lot of long runs by both offenses, and I think that's a direct result of the field, because obviously the offense has the advantage on a muddy field. The player knows when they're going to cut, and the defense can't take hard angles, and it can't take those, go for the big hit. They're kind of playing soft. Both teams are exposing it, so I think a lot of that has to do with the muddy field.
All righty, David, 4th and 3. We'll see what happens on this down here. Key play here for Bellaire. Masciarelli rolling out. Got Campbell in front of him. Going to dump it to him, and he makes the catch. Touchdown. Quinn Campbell makes a great catch on a 4th down play, and a great pass that time as well from Masciarelli. Just kind of like a shot put. Just kind of pushed the ball out there, and Quinn Campbell was able to come down with a reception for the score.
Yeah, you'll see he could have ran the ball and picked up the 1st down, but he just waited and then just kind of a little shot put, as you say, Scott, and there to the touchdown.
So there they are, right back on the board, and Bellaire's going to go for a 2-point conversion. This would give them the lead. Ferry still with a 13-12 lead here, but Bellaire's going to go for 2. 2:54 remaining in the opening quarter. Masciarelli under center. On the conversion. Fake the hand up to Lekanudos. Rolling is Masciarelli. Looking to the end zone. Looking. Now he's going to try and come back the other way. Loses his footing and falls down. Really nowhere to throw at that time. His receiver, who he wanted to go to, Nolan, was covered well that time by the Ferry defense. And really, Masciarelli didn't have an opportunity to even really try and throw it to it.
First time we've seen this formation was a power I with the flanker to the left side, and he rolled to the flanker side and wanted to reverse his field and come back. And he did have a couple people out of that power I that were open in the end zone, but he slipped and fell down.
So he keeps it at a 1-point Martins Ferry lead now, 13-12. So each team scored twice here in the opening quarter. The only miscue for Bellaire was on their first play. They fumbled the ball, which did lead to a Martins Ferry touchdown. Each other time they've touched the ball, they've put it in the end zone, and Ferry will be getting the ball for the 3rd time they've scored on their previous 2 possessions.
And I'll tell you, Scott, from a coach's standpoint, I'm sure both these coaches right now are thinking, how big are these extra points? When it comes down to it, you never know at the time, but at the end of the ball game, one of these missed extra points or made extra points can make the difference in the ball game.
And here's another key of the ball game as well, the kicking game when you're kicking off the football. Great return last time by Donnie Cash. Got Martins Ferry good field position up at the 44-yard line. We'll see what happens this time. Brinker is going to be the man at his own 8. Takes it, coming right back up the gut. Tries to slip a couple of tacklers, gets good field position though, really, up over the 25 to about the 26, 27-yard line. That's where Martins Ferry will start off. This will be the deepest they've started off a drive this afternoon in their own end. There comes Freddie Ray back out onto the field. Let's go back down to our Mike Anthony, and he's on the sideline. Mike?
Well, Scott, the score is 13-12 right now, but don't expect that to be the final score. Believe me, Chad Brinker has carried the ball every time for Martins Ferry, and if Bellaire cannot stop him, they'll just continue to give it to him. I expect him to have 30 carries or more.
Alrighty, Mike, we'll be checking with you periodically throughout the day. Tony Collette on the carry that time. They give it to the fullback, and a gain of about 1 or so, maybe. And it'll be 2nd down and 9.
That time they were in split backs, and they brought Brinker, who, as Mike mentioned earlier, has carried the ball every time for Ferry. And that time they kind of a little misdirection there and handed it to the backside, but Bellaire's defense did a real nice job.
2nd down and 9. Ball on the 28-yard line. Eye set behind Fred Ray. Toss to Brinker, going to that left side again, and wow, there's a big hit by Lekanudos, knocking him out of bounds. Lekanudos got him that time as he tried to get around the left end, gets up to the 30-yard line. It's another gain of about 2. It's going to be 3rd down and about 6 or about 7.
Again, the sweep to that side. They pulled the onside guard, and you'll see a nice tackle here. A nice stick by Lekanudos there and kept him from gaining more than just maybe a yard.
And pushing him out of bounds, using that sideline as another defensive player. 3rd down, and we'll call it about 8. Ball on the 30-yard line. Ray now will go with 3 wideouts. looking to throw for the first time on the day. Going over the middle, has Yourkovich, makes the catch, then drops it. They'll call it an incomplete pass. Well, boy, Freddie Ray put that one right there, and Yourkovich just couldn't come down with it.
He had some pressure on him that time and delivered the ball real nice, stood tall in the pocket, and put the ball right on the money, but at the last minute, the ball was stripped out and rolled an incomplete pass.
Good ball that time from Freddie Ray, the first time we've seen him throw it all afternoon, and got good air on it that time to get it out to him, but it's an incomplete pass. Coyne into punt. And what's been a very long first quarter. Our first punt of the day is up, and fair catch signal, and caught back at the 35-yard line. Caught there by Ryan Snider. So Bellaire will start off 1st and 10 on their own 36. So that's the first time today Martins Ferry's had the ball. They haven't gone in for a touchdown, but that was also the deepest they had to start on their own end. And I think Bellaire is making a lot of adjustments defensively against that Martins Ferry running attack.
Yeah, Bellaire with their swarm defense seemed to step it up a notch that last time on that series. Did a nice job there defensively.
Set behind Masciarelli this time. They'll give the pitch in the backfield to Lekanudos, but flags before the play gets going.
We're going to see another false start. Yep. Left side of the Bellaire line moved just prior to the snap.
So false start will move them back 5 to the 31. And it'll be 1st and 15 now for the Big Reds. High-scoring affair thus far, and what are some pretty sloppy conditions here on the field at Nelson Field. And we've still got 1:40 to play in the opening quarter. Been a very long first quarter so far. Masciarelli on 1st and 15 from his own 31-yard line. Looking to throw the ball. Wants to go down the middle to Materkoski. He's there, and it is intercepted. Picked off by Donnie Cash. Cash made a great adjustment on the football that time and just played it like a wide receiver himself and came down with the interception.
I mentioned earlier, Scott, that there was a lot of air under the ball before, and here the same thing, up in the air a long time. Good coverage there by the Purple Riders and a great interception.
Cash played it like it was his ball all the way. Just went up there and came down with the interception, so Martins Ferry gets another turnover from Bellaire. That's a fumble and an interception. And the Purple Riders took advantage of the first turnover, the fumble, and turned it into a touchdown. This, though, starting off a little deeper in their own end. Brinker, though, right up the middle. Up to the 45-yard line. A gain of close to 11. That'll be a Martins Ferry first down.
We mentioned last time they had from split backs, they ran a little crisscross action. That time they ran a fake toss and handed the ball back to Brinker, and he turned right up the middle. Here you'll see on the replay, they're blocking down, they're kicking out, and he took it right up the middle.
Tackled by Ryan Snider that time, or we probably would have gone for a few more yards. Ball placed at the Ferry 46. Gain of 11. 1st and 10 for the Purple Riders. Set, Collette and Brinker behind Ray. Pitch to Brinker, going for that left side again. And a fumble on the play, and Bellaire has it. Chad Brinker loses the handle, and Bellaire comes up with a turnover. Just inside Martins Ferry territory at about the 48-yard line is where it'll be put down. We talked about it. There could be a lot of turnovers in today's game with that wet, slippery football, and right there, you can see it come loose.
Yeah, the ball was stripped right there, and it appeared as though it was going to be another big yardage play there, and the ball was stripped out, and Bellaire got on it with good field position right across the mid-stripe.
Well, the Big Reds would like to take advantage of this turnover. Still trailing by 1, 13-12. We still have 1:03 left to go in the opening quarter. Masciarelli, quick toss to Lekanudos with blockers in front, looking to get to the sideline. Brinker puts the cut on him and brings him down. A gain of about 3 that time. It'll be 2nd down and 7.
Scott, I mentioned about the ball being in the air a long time, and that's happened a couple times. Here you'll see on the replay the quick toss to this side. Lekanudos just has been strung out. Brinker did an excellent job stringing him to the sidelines and making the tackle. But what I was saying there was I think you probably see Bellaire go to that shorter passing game. The last time when they went deep and had it intercepted, they had a back in the flat wide open.
Look for that on this drive. See if they elect to go with that. Kenny Roth is the man who came in motion. Masciarelli rolling. He's got Campbell open. Puts it up. Quinn Campbell comes down with a reception and is knocked out of bounds at about the 31-yard line. That'll be a gain of 14 yards, and it's a first down.
And that's what I was talking about, Scott. You'll see here on the replay, you got a little misdirection action coming back, and he rolls to his right, and he just waits. He's patient, drops the ball out in the flat. Another big first down.
Campbell has been open on that play several times today. In fact, they threw it for a touchdown earlier on a fourth down play. 1st and 10 now. Ball on the Martins Ferry 31-yard line. We're finally winding down the last few seconds of the first quarter. We're at 11 right now. Hand off to Lekanudos right up the middle. He'll go for about 6 down to the 25-yard line. Call it 2nd and 4, and that'll bring it close to the first quarter of play. So 1 is in the book. And what a great first quarter it's been scoring-wise. 13-12 after 1 quarter. On the City of Bellaire Hospital scoreboard, Martins Ferry leads by 1. Back with the second quarter right after this on the News Channel 7 Game of the Week. Leading by 1, 13-12 as we check it out there on the City of Bellaire Hospital scoreboard. Bellaire is faced with a 2nd and 4 situation as we get this quarter underway. Ball is on the Martins Ferry 25-yard line. Masciarelli looking to throw. Going over the middle. Lekanudos is open. Intercepted, though, by Chad Coyne. Coyne comes down with it and looking to return it. Gets it back out near the 20, and that time, another ball that just laid up there a little too long. Coyne was able to make the adjustment, come over and just snag it right out of the air and out of the hands of Clint Lekanudos, who appeared to be able to make the reception for a score.
Here they sent Lekanudos down the middle of the field and tried to dump the ball to him. Chad Coyne, who I talked to Coach Bruney before the ball game, and he said he's one of the unsung heroes of this Martins Ferry football team. Made a nice defensive play there.
Ty Masciarelli, who had 1 interception coming into the ball game, has now already thrown 2 in this afternoon's contest. So Ferry takes over again and dodges another bullet by another Bellaire turnover. Bellaire jumped again. No penalty flag, though. Hand off to Brinker, and he's stacked up at the line of scrimmage. Go back down to our David Bloomquist. David?
Thanks a lot, Scott. You were talking about Masciarelli's 2 interceptions. If you watch him throw the football, he's shot putting it. He can't grip it because it's cold and it's wet. And one thing I wanted to point out, when you have to shot put it, you have to loft it, and he's not going to be able to loft it over Coyne and Yourkovich. Both those guys are about 6'3".
You're right, David, and they're also 2 of the finest receivers around, so they know how to make adjustments to the football to come down with it, just as when they're back there in their safety and free safety positions. They've done a good job so far this afternoon, as well as Don Cash, who also had an interception earlier. Freddie Ray rolling, now going back to the far side, and it falls incomplete. They brought everybody over to this side. They had Coyne and Yourkovich line up on this side. They'd run a crossing route to the other side, tried to throw it back, and the ball was just out in front of Coyne a little bit too much that time. He made a diving attempt at it, but it falls incomplete. Brings a 3rd down and 11. This deep in your own territory, you've also got to watch about a turnover here. You don't want to give the ball back to them right here on your own 20-yard line. Ferry leading by 1 right now in the second quarter. 13-12, 3rd down and 11 on their own 20-yard line. Ray to pass, pressured, and he gets away, and now he's looking downfield, going to throw it long, has a man down there, and it is tipped in. Caught! What a catch! Nick Yourkovich came down with it somehow. It was tipped around and then caught by Yourkovich. Wow!
Unbelievable play, Scott. Unbelievable play. I'll tell you what, Freddie Ray showed a lot of patience there. You'll see here he starts going to his left, turns around, goes back to his right, lets that ball go a long way in the air. Ferry had 2 receivers there. Bellaire had a defensive man there. The ball's tipped up in the air. What concentration.
Tipped there by Cash, who was there. Snider for Bellaire, and Yourkovich then has to make a diving attempt at it and comes down with a reception.
You won't see a better catch than that.
Ball on the 35 of Bellaire now. Motion man to the near side. And penalty flags. false start against Martins Ferry. Almost a bad situation there for the Purple Riders. The ball was snapped and was right up in the air, and penalty flag, though, of course, the dead ball moves them back 5 yards with a false start. But what a catch that time by Yourkovich.
Unbelievable.
Just going back to that quickly.
Unbelievable concentration there. He just stretched out, caught it on his fingertips.
And Martins Ferry really so far today is coming up, then the team has come up with a big play. You talk about the big long run from Chad Brinker, and then that catch there. You know, we have to pick a Belmont Savings Bank play of the game. That may be it today. Incompleted pass attempted for Nick Yourkovich. Depending upon which team wins, I don't think even if Bellaire wins, that still may be the best play of the ball game so far today.
That's going to be a hard one to top, that's for sure. I know both these coaches can't be real happy about the fact that there's been penalties. Two good football teams here, but I'm sure both teams, you know, a few jitters at the beginning, but those penalties can come back to haunt you.
Now, you talk about playing in a football game like this, and not only because how big of a rivalry it is, but then the severity for both of these teams on a possibility of a postseason trip.
That's for sure.
Freddie Ray, back to pass, looking downfield, going to go over the middle, and nobody there. Coyne had stopped and turned around, had cut his route off short. Ray was expecting him to continue on the fly and threw it over his head, incomplete, into the end zone.
Well, Scott David mentioned a little bit ago on the sidelines about Ty Masciarelli and his difficulty gripping the football, and as he mentioned, kind of shot-putting the ball. Great passer he is. Freddie Ray doesn't seem to have any trouble at all. He's zipping that ball out there real well.
And, you know, he's really a guy and a kid who I think is overlooked by a lot of people because of the man who is also in the backfield with him in Chad Brinker. Freddie Ray has thrown 47 completed balls out of 98 attempts for 1,119 yards coming into today and 11 touchdowns. Fact is, he just hasn't been the man who has to do it. Ray this time looking to run, had some open field, but in that muddy section was unable to keep his footing and falls down. He did get the 5 yards back on the penalty, and it'll be 4th down and 10. But Freddie Ray is just a fantastic athlete, both running and throwing the ball, and he shows it here, and he also showed it on a time when he had to elude all those defenders back there to get that great pass off. You see, he just slips and falls down there. It's 4th down and 10, though. Ball resting on the Bellaire 35-yard line, and after that great reception, Martins Ferry, after a penalty, has been going backwards. They had an incompleted pass, a couple of incompleted passes, and then Freddie Ray slipping down there on the 3rd and 15. They'll go for it, though, on 4th and 10 from the 35. Coyne in motion to the near side. Long snap count. Timeout's going to be called. They were waiting to see if Bellaire would jump off and at least probably put him into a 4th and 5 situation, I think. Now they're going to come over to the sidelines and talk it over. They may still go for it, but they're going to talk it over. Let's go ahead and take a break with them. 9:09 remaining in the second quarter. 13-12 Ferry on the City of Bellaire Hospital scoreboard. Back with more after this. In Nelson Field in Bellaire. 9:09 remaining before the half. Martins Ferry enjoying a 1-point 13-12 lead as you check it out there on the City of Bellaire Hospital scoreboard. And looks as if they're still going to go for it here on 4th down. They came over to the sideline, talked it over with Coach Bruney, and he sends his boys back out there on a 4th and 10 situation. Twin receivers to the far side. Don Cash, the lone man, who split out to the near side. Freddie Ray pressured, and he's going to be sacked and brought down. So Bellaire holds him on downs, and they'll take over. Good job defensively, not only by the line surge that time, but also by the defensive backs, because Ray really had nowhere to throw, and he just had to eat it.
That's basically what you call coverage sack, Scott, and Bellaire did have a real good coverage in the secondary there, and he had nowhere to go, and they had a lot of people up front and just sacked him right there.
So Bellaire will take over. Ball on their own 37-yard line, trailing by 1 here in the second quarter of play. 9:01 to play before the end of the first half. Masciarelli, who's had 2 interceptions already today, comes back out. He's under center. Quick pitch in the backfield going to Lekanudos. Trying to get back over the middle part of that field. He does, and Lekanudos, a great run up near midfield to the 49-yard line. A gain of 12 on 1st down. Move the chains. 1st and 10 Bellaire. A pickup of 12 that time by Clint Lekanudos.
They've utilized that quick toss several times today, Scott, and that time a nice cutback by Lekanudos picked up real nice yardage there.
We talked about Lekanudos. He's used both at the tailback position to run the ball, and they also split him out frequently, as you see now. Kind of at a split end or a flanker. And they'll throw the ball to him often as well. He's a gifted athlete. Masciarelli, the left-hander, coming to the near side. Now going back. Good job by his offensive line. Still rolling, puts it out there, and it's incomplete. A dangerous play that time. They had two options, either be sacked for a huge loss or possibly throw an interception. Luckily for him, the ball was incomplete that time on his pass.
Great pressure there by Dan Jones that time, and he really didn't have anybody to throw to, and kind of a little throwaway there, even though he did have a receiver in the area.
I hope we know who these kids are, because pretty soon here we're not going to be able to read those numbers on the front or back of several of these jerseys from the ball being played right there at midfield. That's what football's all about, though, getting down and dirty like that. And 2nd and 10, ball on the 49 of Bellaire. Trips split to the far side. Quick pitch in the backfield this time. That's going to Jimmy Preston. Makes a great cut and turns it back inside and gets it down to the Martins Ferry 40-yard line. We'll see where the mark is. That should be close to a first down for Bellaire. Gain of close to about 9 or 10 that time. They're going to have to bring the change from the far side.
There the toss to the away from the trip side, and they had success with Preston earlier in the first quarter on several running plays. He went back to him there, and you say going to be close to a first down.
Preston is a senior. He's 5'11", 180 pounds, and used all of it that time to try and get the first down, and he has it. By nearly a full ball length that time. 1st and 10, Bellaire, ball on the Martins Ferry 41-yard line. Preston has been almost really, in a way, I don't know if you could call him their workhorse out of the backfield, but he has been the man they've gone to and has been the guy who's had good running success so far today.
Yeah, he's shown the ability to break some tackles there early on and had a nice run at that time.
Quinn Campbell, we can't forget about him either. He had some good running earlier in the first quarter. Masciarelli under center now. Twin wideout split to the far side. Lekanudos and Materkoski. He's looking at him. Going to float it up there again. That's another ball that could be picked off and just knocked down incomplete. Chad Brinker on the coverage that time. They were trying to get the ball to Clint Lekanudos, but you can see there, as Dave Bloomquist was saying, Masciarelli really not able to get a good grip on the football today due to the slippery conditions. Just has to almost shot put that football up there and float it out there, and that was another dangerous pass that could have been intercepted. Luckily for Bellaire, just tipped and knocked incomplete.
Yeah, here you see him drop straight back that time and go over top with it, and ball was up in the air again a long time. Nice defensive play there by Brinker.
You can almost see it when he releases it. It kind of slips out of his hand when he goes to throw it. Masciarelli again to the air. Now he's going to run it. He's got some big-time running room. He's over the 30, 25, 20. And dances out of bounds over the 20 at about the 18-yard line. And that's the threat that he offers. Not only does he have a strong throwing arm, but he has some quick legs as well. And he dances that time over the 20 and down to the 19.
It's very difficult to defense here. When he goes back and you're running those receivers, those defensive secondary people off the receivers are, then he takes off running here, puts a lot of pressure on the defense.
Just a great athlete, Ty Masciarelli, and he showed it right there, being able to tuck that ball under and run it upfield. And also, what a strong kid, too, mentally. When you talk about he only had one interception all year coming into today, and he's thrown 2 already, but sticks by himself and has gone back to that pass several times and still has plenty of confidence in him. You love to see that out of a youngster. To the air, caught by Materkoski.
Touchdown.
Touchdown. No problem on the pass that time. Richie Materkoski with the catch. It's a 19-yard touchdown play, and Bellaire, for the first time today, has the lead.
He stuck that ball right in there that time, Scott. He looked off to his left, came back over here to his right. Great catch, eluded a tackler, and taken in the end zone for a touchdown.
Yourkovich was the only guy who had a chance to try and pull Materkoski out of bounds. He couldn't do so at about the 1, and he was able to get in the end zone for the touchdown. So Bellaire, for the first time today, has the lead, 18-13. They'll go for 2 to try and make it a 7-point game. Masciarelli under center. Rolling, looking, slips and falls. So it stays a 5-point ball game. We talked about it. These extra point opportunities could really play a factor in our final score today. We'll see. But nonetheless, the Big Reds fans are on their feet and enjoying it right now as their team takes the lead 18-13 with 7:28 remaining before half. Masciarelli just a great job on that drive. Did it with his legs and then did it with his arm. And let's go to our David Bloomquist for more. David?
Thanks a lot, Scott. You were talking about Ty throwing the football. If you really notice, every time the officials put a clean ball in there or wipe the ball off, Bellaire throws. Whenever the ball's been sitting there for a while and is not clean, they run the football. So it's almost, you can almost guarantee if you see a new ball being thrown in, Bellaire's going to put it up because they know it's dry, and that's about the only good opportunity they're going to have at putting it in the air.
All righty, David, thank you. A pretty dry ball that time as Masciarelli gets it into Materkoski, and a good job concentration-wise by Richie Materkoski as well to come down with a catch and then stay in bounds because he was kind of tight roping the sideline that time, but it gets into the end zone for the score, and it's now 18-13 in favor of Bellaire. And Ryan Snider's going to line the ball up for the kick, and he's going to bring it all the way over to the near hash. There's actually a little more grass there, if you can believe it, than what the far hash has. So to try and keep his footing, even though it might not look like it right there, where the ball is sitting, there's actually a little bit of grass there. He'll have a chance to try and plant his foot to put a good boot to this. He gets an end-over-ender that'll come down, and that's a returnable kick. Picked up there by Collette. Coming right back up the gut. Gets over the 30 and to about the 32-yard line. Tony Collette, good return that time for the Purple Riders. And it'll be first down, Martins Ferry. And boy, what's this? The sun may be popping its head out here. I tell you what had looked like it was going to just be a downright awful day has turned into being not so bad. Stopped raining, and now the suns might be even coming out. And hey, what else is better than to have Mike Anthony also? Mike?
Well, Scott, if you look at some strategies, of course, Bellaire or Martins Ferry elected to go on 4th and 10 2 series ago, and if they, instead of pooching the ball down inside the 10, they let their defense win it. Bellaire exploited their defense and scored, so both teams are going back and forth.
That's true, Mike. We didn't think about that really on that touchdown drive. It came off of a 4th down opportunity. They were deep in their own end at about the 35, so punting the ball might have been tough. But they did elect to go for it and were stopped. And on first down there, a gain of about 1. It brings down 2nd down and 9. Clock moving a little more rapidly now. We're down under 7 minutes. 6:50 remaining in the opening half. Bellaire now leading for the first time today, 18-13. Freddie Ray under center. Zann and Brinker in the backfield. And another penalty flag is thrown right there before the snap. And we can look for a false start that time again against Martins Ferry. So make it 2nd down and 14. They'll move the ball back to the 29-yard line.
Talked about penalties earlier, Scott, and you know this is critical when you're trying to pick up first downs. When you end up with a 5-yard penalty in there, that makes it tough.
And it seems almost in a way that the momentum has now shifted a little bit back towards Bellaire. There in the early part, in the first quarter at least, it seemed as if everything was going the way of Martins Ferry, and then even after that great reception that they had from Yourkovich all the way down to the 35, since then they've kind of been going backwards. They need to try and gain what they had prior to that. Looking on the fake reverse. Ray wanting to go downfield. Trying to get it there, and it's intercepted. What a great adjustment that time by Ryan Snider to come over his shoulder and pick the ball off.
You see they faked a misdirection on an end around here. They had a hold of Ray as he was throwing the football, but a great interception there by Ryan Snider. Just laid out and came up with that football.
Great job by Ryan Snider. We've seen some good efforts defensively by both of these teams on interceptions. Don Cash had one earlier that he made a great adjustment on, and that time as well, a good adjustment by Ryan Snider. Bellaire with an eye set. That's Campbell and Lekanudos behind Masciarelli. Pitch to Lekanudos. Coming to the near side. Nowhere to run that time. Dropped down quickly that time by big number 72, Rusty Lucy. And a gain of about 1 on that play. closer to about 2. We'll call it 2nd down and a long 8. Ball is resting at about the 47-yard line, and there comes a new ball in from the sideline. So let's see if Mr. Bloomquist's tale holds true here. We'll see. We're not blaming you if it goes wrong, David. We'll see if they do throw it. That's something to look at because we've not really been paying attention to that prior. Let's see if they do go to the air on 2nd down and 8. They'll fake the handoff, and they're going to the air. At least they wanted to, but Masciarelli's going to run it. He's got some open running room. He's at the 40, 35, 30. Picks up a great block at the 20 and knocked down at the 18-yard line.
We've got a penalty over on the sideline there, Scott. I don't know what it is, but I think it may be against Bellaire.
See, we might have an illegal block or a clip or something downfield. Let's get the call from our referee, Jack Prettyman. Clipping.
It's a clip.
Against Bellaire, so bring it back. Here you go. They did want to throw it.
You'll see on the replay, they faked the draw up the middle, and he was going to go deep, but he tucked it away, and he got beyond one defender right here and took it down for big yardage. But you see a clip there, and it's going to be called back.
So they'll call it back from the spot of the penalty. They actually gain on that over into Martins Ferry territory, and it's actually going to be close to a 1st down. So while they may lose on the complete gain that time, they're close to really a 1st down marker here. They're going to have to bring the sticks over from the far sideline. But as David Bloomquist had made notice of earlier, whenever they do bring a clean football in, it's just short, just inches. And it'll be 3rd down and inches now. But they did bring that clean football in from the sideline, and they went right to the air. At least they wanted to go right to the air, and they were hoping to go for the long ball. But Masciarelli elected to tuck it because of the defense that time by Ferry. Tucked it and ran with it, but we'll have to watch for that the rest of the afternoon. And I'm sure that's also something that the Martins Ferry coaches will be picking up on as well throughout the afternoon. Whenever they see a clean football coming in there, they may be yelling pass down from the booth. I set now on 2nd and short. Hand off to Lekanudos. And he'll have enough for the 1st down, moving it down to about the 40-yard line of Ferry.
Scott, we were talking earlier about the difficulty of the defense trying to defend the quarterback, and when he drops back and takes off running. And we saw there the play that was called back. He wanted to go on top, and he just scrambled out of there, and that makes it real tough. They had good coverage in the secondary, but a breakdown up front.
1st and 10 now, ball on the Ferry 40. Masciarelli looking to throw again. Going downfield has Materkoski, tipped away by Yourkovich. Good defensive play that time from Nick Yourkovich to get his hand in there and knock it away from Materkoski.
Yeah, here Ty lays the ball up here, and Yourkovich will come across. Nice defensive play from his defensive position and tips it away right at the last minute.
He does a good job as a left-hander to roll out to his right and still get a pretty good ball out there. It's got to be difficult because he has to be able to square his shoulders to get it out there on a good spiral motion, but he got it out there, but just a good play that time from Yourkovich.
And the other thing, when you roll in this kind of field conditions, that's tough too. We saw him slip earlier in the ball game.
2nd and 10 now. Ball on the Ferry 40-yard line. They're looking to the air again. One to go down the field, has a man, and it's incomplete. Intended for Clint Lekanudos that time. Brinker was on the coverage. And just thrown a little bit too far in front of Lekanudos that time, and it falls incomplete. That's going to bring up a 3rd down and 10 now from the 40-yard line. So you see Bellaire going to the air a little more on this drive now. That's their game plan, really. They want to be able to air the ball out, put it into the air, and even when they've had to play in some pretty adverse conditions at times, snow, rain, you name it, just real cold conditions, they have not abandoned their game plan. They stick by what they do best, and that is giving Masciarelli the ability to roll and put the ball in the air and give him a chance to either run with it or throw it. Throwing it this time, and it is caught that time by Lekanudos. Great effort by Clint Lekanudos. Now the mark. We'll have to see if he's close to a 1st down. He's going to be just shy. He's going to be about a yard or so shy, I think, of a 1st down. It's going to be 4th down and less than 1.
That was a basic out route there, and a real nice job by Ty throwing the football at that spot. and he knew where he had to go to get the first down. You'll see here on the replay that he came up and just a little short.
And a good effort by Lekanudos as well to dive out there and make the catch.
And that was pretty good coverage, too.
See where he comes down, just shy of the marker. On 4th and 1. Bellaire in an eye. Masciarelli under center. Deep handoff that time, and goes to Preston.
I don't think he made it.
And that's going to be close. From where the...
We're going to see where forward progress is spotted here, but it didn't appear that he made the first down.
Referee Jack Prettyman's already made the call. Turn it around the other way. 1st and 10, Martins Ferry.
Nice job by the Ferry defensive line. Good surge off the ball right here, and they stood him up right at the line of scrimmage.
Excuse my call that time. It was number 30, Kenny Roth, who's one of the fullbacks, getting the handoff that time and stopped right at the line of scrimmage and no gain. Good surge by the entire middle portion of that Martins Ferry defense. Guys like Lucy and Cruz, along with Weaver and Leonard, all along that front line for Ferry. 1st and 10 now. Handoff to Brinker. Running room outside. Brinker has 10 before he's knocked out of bounds just over the 40.
They had success with that play earlier in the ball game, Scott, and they came back to it there. You'll see a little trap back to the other side to pull the backside guard and tackle, and picked up good yardage, first down.
When they get him to the corner and you get him outside, it can be very dangerous, and he's proven that so far today. If his longest run for this afternoon, a 54-yard touchdown jaunt in the first quarter. Clock moving now down to 4 minutes remaining in the opening half. It's 18-13 in favor of Bellaire. 1st and 10 now. Ferry fumble on the snap, and I think Bellaire has it. They do. Freddie Ray lost the handle that time, trying to come out of there with it. And picked up by Clint Ostrander, number 84, one of the defensive ends for the Big Reds. Just snuck himself in there and came down with the ball. You see him there, he's lined up closest to you.
The ball really didn't seem to get off the ground that time, and the ball was placed right in that bad portion of the field and just kind of drug in the mud.
Let's go back down to our David Bloomquist. David?
Scott, I got a good vantage point down here. Correct me if I'm wrong when I'm done, but I think that's 3 fumbles on the snap so far. It doesn't matter what hash mark they're on. They're in 3 inches of mud at least out there on the field. It's nasty.
Yeah, I know it's at least 2. You might be right with the 3. I'm not sure. Pitched that time to Lekanudos. I know the first play from scrimmage today, Masciarelli had a problem with the handle. And that turned into a turnover and a touchdown for Martins Ferry. And then this time, Freddie Ray has a problem with the handle as well. And turns into an opportunity now for Bellaire. And there it is, that middle portion of the field. You can see it there. Not really the best conditions to be playing football in, but it's an equalizer for both teams. Obviously, they're both playing on the same field. Timeout on the field right now. Let's go ahead and take a... No, they're going to blow it right back into play, so we'll wait.
I think we had a contact maybe out of place and took an official's timeout right there, and I think we're ready, set to go here.
Go ahead and keep it here then. 3:20 left to play here in the opening half. 18-13. Split backs behind Masciarelli. Looking to pass. Pressured in the backfield. Trying to get outside, and he can't. Knocked out of bounds. Run out of bounds that time, and that's going to be a loss for Bellaire. It was 2nd down and 8. And it's going to drop them back a little bit. We're down to 3 minutes remaining here in the opening half. Bellaire with a 5-point lead, 18-13.
Ty's had a good bit of success rolling to his right and left and scrambling, but here the Purple Rider defense does a real nice job containing him here, and that's important to keep contained on the outside.
3rd and 11, a loss of 3 that time by Masciarelli. Ball placed at about the 44-yard line. You see Ty try to dry those hands off right before he sticks them under the center there. Gets the snap, dropping back. Good time this time. Over the middle, has a man, and it's caught there by Materkoski. And Materkoski breaks a tackle. He's over the 10 and down to the 8. Great catch that time by Materkoski. He literally picked that ball off the top of the grass. Didn't allow it to touch the ground. It just was able to pull it right up into his stomach that time and comes up with a great reception.
Not only was that a great catch, but it was a great run after the catch. Here you see straight drop back. Ty steps up, puts it down, He picks it right up off his shoe tops and then takes the ball and runs downfield with it.
1st and goal now on the 8. We're under 3 minutes to play. Down to 2:40 remaining here in the opening half. Bellaire threatening again. They already own a 5-point advantage, 18-13. Materkoski and Lekanudos will split out to the far side. Roth and
Ferry wants a timeout.
And they're going to get it. I didn't think they were going to get it there for a second. Roth and Campbell were the men in the backfield that time, and Ferry's going to take a timeout. We've got 2:28 to play here in the opening half on the City of Bellaire Hospital scoreboard. 18-13 in favor of Bellaire. They're looking for more. Let's go ahead and take a break. Back with more right after this. On the City of Bellaire Hospital scoreboard. Coach, real quickly, let's go ahead and go back to that pass by Masciarelli to Materkoski. We'll check it out here again. Guys are checking to the truck. They say it's pretty close. It might have hit the ground.
I'll tell you, it was close. And we'll take a look at it right here to see if it actually did hit the ground before it was caught.
That is close. It looks like he might have been able to get his hands underneath there.
And another thing we take a look at, well, his knee was awful close to being down right there.
Here we go on 1st and goal from the 8. Masciarelli rolling to the end zone. It's dropped that time. Pass intended for Quinn Campbell. A tough opportunity that time. He was backpedaling and also trying to come down with a catch at the same time. And that can be hard to do, and just had it fall through his hands, incomplete.
There's a back out of the backfield here. Ty's rolling to his left, just dumps it real easy. And again, as you said, him going backwards, a tough catch.
Falls incomplete. He'll bring up 2nd and goal now. Ball on the 8. 2:22 remaining in the opening half. Bellaire enjoying a 5-point advantage, 18-13. And Martins Ferry would love to keep it at that. They would like to keep Bellaire out of the end zone here if they can. Trips to the far side. Campbell, the lone man behind Masciarelli. Snider, the tight end, split to the near side. Masciarelli on a straight draw into the end zone. Touchdown. Ty Masciarelli on the quarterback draw, just goes right into the end zone for the score. Bellaire strikes again. It's now 24-13 as we await the conversion.
Here you'll see him drop straight back, and then he goes right up the middle, and that's hard to defense. When you have the defense spread out, it's hard to keep him contained.
And you can see what a runner Masciarelli is right there. We mentioned he had 8 rushing touchdowns coming into today. Gets another one right there. And they'll go for 2. Little timing pattern to the corner, and it is incomplete. Intended that time for Materkoski, just thrown a little bit too far out of his reach, and it falls incomplete.
You'll see here they run a little fade route to the end, back corner of the end zone. And the ball's right there, and it bounces right out at the last minute.
So it's now 24-13 in favor of Bellaire. 2:17 remaining in the opening half. Bellaire now with an 11-point advantage. As we check it out on the City of Bellaire Hospital scoreboard. But Bellaire's going to have to put it back into play, and Ferry's going to get another opportunity here before the end of the half.
Scott, we talked about the weather earlier. It was pretty bad early on. It's cleared off, a little bit cloudy now, but I'll tell you what a great crowd here this afternoon. This weather didn't keep any of these fans away.
Not at all. Packed house in the stands, standing room only behind the end zones, on each end, in fact. And then at the north end zone as well, where the scoreboard is at, you have fans up on the hill, out around the gate and everywhere. They've got them packed in here today in Nelson Field in Bellaire. This was the one they were talking about all year. In fact, they've been looking forward to this one from game 1. Of course, Bellaire coming into today 9-0. Martins Ferry coming in at 8-1. Bellaire entered this week number 3 in their region and would really hate to lose because a loss might knock them out of the top 4. We'd have to wait and see what else would happen. You hate to speculate. Martins Ferry, on the other hand, was 5th this week and would almost need a win. They try the short kick that time, but a great job, and the up man that time, number 87, Tim Weaver, jumps right on top of it and comes down with it. So Bellaire gives Martins Ferry great field position here to start this drive off, and they've got plenty of time. 2:17 before the half, and they'll start off on their own 46-yard line.
Trying to keep the ball down and not get it to their deep people so they get a return. Ferry ends up with great field position right here, and we'll see what they can do.
1st and 10 on their own 46. I set with Brinker the top man. Long snap count. They'll give him the ball. Brinker right up the middle. Gains about 4 to midfield, right to the 50-yard line. 2nd down and 6 after the Brinker 4-yard gain. Clock at 2 minutes remaining in the opening half. And Bellaire with an 11-point advantage at 24-13. Second down and 6 now for the Purple Riders. Ball right at midfield. Coyne to the far side. Yourkovich, the man to the near side, goes in motion. Looking to turn it up. And Ray looking to pass it over the middle. Intended that time for Yourkovich. Jimmy Preston, the man on the coverage that time, got a hand in there and knocked it incomplete.
They just about intercepted. What they had that time was Yourkovich was in motion, and at the snap of the ball, he turned and ran a little crossing route in the middle of the field. Here you'll see it on the replay. Nice protection in there, but good defensive effort on the dive to break that pass up.
Preston got a hand in there, knocked it incomplete. It's going to make a 3rd down and 6 now. Ball right at midfield. They'll leave one man in the backfield this time. Ray looking to pass. Coming to the sideline, has Brinker, makes a diving reception at the 40-yard line. A great catch that time by Chad Brinker. Showing you what kind of athlete this kid really is.
Yeah, we talk about his running ability. Right here, you'll see a great catch here by Chad Brinker.
Wow.
Lays out and makes a beautiful catch.
Clock at 1:23 remaining in the opening half. 1st and 10 now for Ferry. Ball on the 40-yard line. Pickup of 10 that time on the pass. They needed 6. I set now behind Freddie Ray. Take the handoff, and going downfield is Ray. Looking for Yourkovich, and it's too tall and incomplete. They'll stop the clock with 1:05 remaining here in the opening half. And Ferry trailing by 11, 24-13. Martins Ferry would like to be able to get some sort of score on the board here going into the half. They'd love to get a touchdown and cut it to 4 if they could.
This would be a big momentum builder if they could, Scott, to get something here.
They'll get the ball coming out in the second half. Bellaire got it to start the ball game off. They won the toss and elected to receive. Twins to the far side. I set behind Freddie Ray. Looking downfield over the middle.
Nice
Pass is
catch.
caught by Chad Coyne. He's got a 1st down into the 20-yard line. We'll see if Ferry elects to burn a timeout here. It's just under a minute with 57 seconds remaining, or if they want to go ahead and get up there and run a playoff. Good catch that time by Chad Coyne, though, right over the middle. And another good ball delivered by Freddie Ray.
Nice pass.
The officials put the ball in play, and the clock starts to turn. We're down to 52 seconds in the opening half. I set again. Hand off to Brinker, right up the middle. Not much doing that time. A gain of 1 or 2.
They're going to take the timeout.
They're going to burn a timeout now. And it's not shown on the scoreboard, but I think they still have 1 timeout remaining, but I'm not sure on that.
I think they have at least 1 remaining, yes. They had to take a timeout when they tried to draw Bellaire off sides earlier.
And then they did burn another timeout. That might have been I think that was their 3rd timeout of the game, of the half, because they burned a timeout down here.
That's right, you're
when
right.
Bellaire was driving. So that is their 3rd and final timeout of the first half.
Real quick.
There you see Coach Dave Bruney's talking it over with his players down on the near sideline, and Coach Magistro and his boys over on the far sideline. Big portion of the ball game right now, as you said, it would be a huge momentum builder going into the locker room if Martins Ferry could get a touchdown here. And the same as for Bellaire, if they would be able to keep them off of the scoreboard. Ball right now is resting on the 18-yard line. 2nd down and 8. There's 43 seconds remaining in the opening half of our ball game right now. Martins Ferry is trailing Bellaire by the score of 24-13, as you see it right there on the City of Bellaire Hospital scoreboard.
Wouldn't be surprised here, Scott, if you'd see Martins Ferry call maybe a couple plays in this timeout so that they can line up real quick and try to get as many plays off as they can and maybe go into the end zone so that if they don't get a score, the clock will stop and they'll be able to get back and get regrouped.
And especially since, as we've said, we believe that is their 3rd and final timeout of the half, so they're unable to stop the clock again unless they have an incomplete pass or they can just slam the ball down into the turf. triplets to the far side now. Collette, the only man in the backfield.
Wide open
Going
underneath.
to Collette, he's got it, makes the catch, but he doesn't get out of bounds, so the clock will continue to run. They've got to get up to the line of scrimmage. Still plenty of time, 30 seconds on the clock right now. They'll go ahead and line it up. The officials will get the ball marked right now. It's down to 25 seconds. Here he is now, Ray to the end zone, and lofts it up there, and it's intercepted. Picked up by Ryan Snider. He's bringing it back. Snider brings it back to the 38-yard line. I think a little confusion that time on the route that was going to be run by the wide receiver Yourkovich, who was to the near side. Ray was looking him to go to the post. He went really to the flag route that time to the outside.
I think you're exactly right, but another thing that caused a lot of problems there was pressure on the inside, and I didn't get the number of the Bellaire Big Red that came in and put pressure on Ray, and the ball didn't get off real good.
A big play, though, there defensively for the Bellaire Big Reds, stopping what looked like might be a touchdown opportunity for Martins Ferry going into the half. There's still 11 seconds remaining here in the opening half of play, and we'll see if Masciarelli elects to just go ahead and take a knee and run it in there, or if they want to try and put the ball up in the air. They're going to throw it. Going down the middle of the field. Caught by Materkoski. And does he get out of bounds? Yes. 4 seconds remaining. And they're at the 40-yard line of Ferry. So they've got a chance to throw it towards the end zone. Here's the replay.
Bellaire may want a timeout here.
Knocked down that time by Chad Coyne. Richie Materkoski with the reception and then gets it down to the 40-yard line. They'll bring the play in from the sideline.
It was a nice crossing route that time. They ran their the Ferry secondary off deep and came across with Materkoski.
And Bellaire hurries up and burns a timeout. Dave Bruney and his staff are livid. They felt the clock should have been started several seconds before that once the ball was laid down and put into play. And we did not get a clock wind from the field. So Bruney's going to talk it over. You see him talking now with referee Jack Prettyman there.
You know, I was surprised there, Scott. I mentioned right before that, it looked as though Bellaire wanted to call a timeout, and then Ty kind of waved that off because the clock is going to start on the official signal for play, and they were delaying on that signal to start the clock, and that's what the coaches from the Ferry sideline were hollering about.
And so with now, we'll see how many seconds they're going to put back up on the clock. The game clock here has all zeros, but I think we had at least 1 second remaining when Bellaire did finally waive the timeout and when they were awarded the timeout. But we'll just have one play remaining here and before the end of the first half. And obviously we know what Bellaire's going to want to try and do. They're just going to try and put it up towards the end zone. And for them, they hope they can come down with a catch and a score. But as you mentioned, Coach, it was kind of funny in a way that Bellaire didn't go ahead after the catch and just go ahead and burn a timeout. Being as how there were only 4 seconds remaining, that would have given them an opportunity to go ahead and elect to what they wanted to do play-wise. But a little indecision, and it nearly cost them there. Twin wideouts to the near side, one man to the top side, that's Lekanudos. Masciarelli's going to the near side. He's throwing it up. He's got Materkoski down there, tipped around, and it is incomplete. There are 4 Purple Riders around 1 Bellaire Big Red player in Richie Materkoski. Let's go down to the sideline and Dave Bloomquist. Dave?
Scott, I'm here with Coach Magister, midfield coach. You got the lead right now, but in the beginning, you think your guys were a little tight?
I think we were. You know, all week I told him I was going to get him up a little bit more than we were last year, and I think it backfired. I think it was my fault. I think I had him too pumped up, and we made a few little turnovers right there. So that's not been our style all year, and I'll take the blame for it.
Do you think the field has a lot to do with those turnovers?
Oh, yeah, no doubt about it. First play of the game, you know, you're a little jittery and the ball slips out of your hands. Yeah, it has a lot to do with it, but I think emotions had more to do with it.
Okay, thanks, Coach. Good luck in the second half. I'll throw it back up to you, Scott, and you can take it to Mike if you want.
Okay, Mike, go ahead. You're with Coach Bruney. Mike?
You looked great early. They really couldn't stop Brinker. And then, do you think the field's playing a big part in this game?
Well, we're not going to. Both teams have to play on that field, so we're not going to be
concerned about the field. It's difficult for they got a lot of speed, we got a lot of speed, and the footing's really bad.
What are you going to tell them at halftime and get adjusted for the second half?
To keep playing the way we're playing right with them, we're playing hard. We just turned the ball over at critical time, and they got an extra touchdown on it.
Okay, thanks for the time, Coach. Good luck in the second half. That's Dave Bruney, head coach of Martins Ferry, making some adjustments at halftime. His team is down 24-13. Scott, back to you.
All righty, Mike, thanks. And you heard Coach Bruney. He said no excuses at all. Both teams have to play on this football field, and as he said, they're playing right with this Bellaire Big Reds football team right now. It's just some turnovers that have cost them. And you look back here, and especially that last play right there, the interception offensively that they had, and just a little, I think, confusion between the quarterback and the wide receiver as to what pass route was going to be run. And it goes as an interception, unfortunately, for the Purple Riders. We are at halftime right now, folks. 24-13 is our score. The Bellaire Big Reds leading on the City of Bellaire Hospital scoreboard. Let's take a break. Back with halftime festivities and other things right after this. Nelson Field in Bellaire. We are at halftime right now. Let's go down to the field and we'll take a listen to the Martins Ferry Purple Rider Marching Band.
Good first half.
Some turnovers, but you can expect that.
Yeah.
One year.
All right.
Not 10, not 20, not 30, not 40, but over 50. That's right. St. Clair
In favor of the Bellaire Big Reds, and down on the field right now, Bellaire's marching band. Let's go ahead down and take a listen to them.
Gordy goes. Gordy says, "See, you won't go over this strength of the field." Yeah. It's on my floor. Good.
Howdy, partner.
First meeting of Martins Ferry in Bellaire. Bellaire is leading right now, 24-13. But Martins Ferry will get the opportunity here first in the second half. And when you look at your screen, no, we've not changed to another game or anything. But Martins Ferry did decide to change uniform tops, their jerseys, in the locker room. We've seen Bellaire do that in the past, but they like to stay with the black jerseys here.
Might make our job just a little bit easier,
Yeah.
Scott. We can see numbers better right now,
right.
especially.
On those Ferry white jerseys, those numbers were almost impossible to read. Collette has it go through his hands. Brinker's going to go back and pick it up. He'll start on his own 3. Looking for some blockers, and he's not going to have much success. Gets just back up shy of the 10-yard line, and there you see that slick, wet football again, playing havoc with the players out there. Collette just had it go right through his hands and roll all the way back to the 2-yard line, and Brinker really had no other option than to pick it up and just try and get what he could.
Yeah, the kicking game is extremely important in any ball game, and under field conditions such as this, Very, very difficult. And, you know, right here is a big plus for Bellaire having Martins Ferry pinned deep in their own 10, at their own 10-yard line.
First down and 10 from the 10. High set behind Freddie Ray. Hand it off to Brinker, and nothing doing that time. Stopped and knocked down in the backfield. Big hit that time by number 73, Wes Carter, from his defensive tackle position. Right in there on Brinker that time, and no gain for Chad Brinker.
Scott, they went right to the trap, which they had success with in the first half. That time, Bellaire, I'm sure, made some adjustments at halftime, and they were right there waiting on him. There was no room to run.
And in fact, he lost 4 yards, back to the 6. It's second down and 14 from the 6-yard line. You can see the sun started to peek its eye out a little bit here, but we have had also some sprinkles that have started again. Pitch to Brinker, trying to make a cut. Breaks one tackle, and he'll get back to the original line of scrimmage at the 10. So it's a gain of 4, and it's going to be third down and 10. And there's a bad sight for Ferry fans. Brinker comes up limping a little bit. You see him favoring at 1 foot as he tries to make his way back to the huddle.
As everybody well knows, they cannot afford to lose Chad Brinker. Here we see on the replay, they go the toss sweep here. Nice job of stepping up from the outside. Got some penetration there from their linebackers.
And he is coming out of the ball game right now. He's on the sideline here on this 3rd and 10. They'll drop Collette back into the tailback position now and have Zann line up in front of him. Ray to pass out of his own end zone, and it is caught.
What a catch.
Mick Yourkovich makes a spectacular reception just over the 20 at the 21-yard line. That's good enough for a Martins Ferry first down. Boy, we've seen some great catches out of these Ferry wide receivers, especially from Yourkovich.
Nice catch right there, laying out and grabbing the football. Talked to Coach Bruney prior to the ball game. He was telling me what a great receiver that Yourkovich is, and he has shown that today.
What a great athlete. Mick Yourkovich makes another spectacular reception. And boy, you talk about almost being fearless, passing from almost out of their own end zone, and they come up with a great catch for a first down. Brinker's back in there now, takes the first down handoff and goes for 4 yards up to the 25. It'll be second down and 6 after a 4-yard gain from Chad Brinker. So Ferry fans can breathe a sigh of relief as they see their main man back in the backfield. And he is not somebody that they could afford to lose in any way, shape, or form in this ball game.
Yeah, they need him to tote the football. He had 109 yards rushing in the first half and went over, I think, if I understood correctly, with that runner, close to going over the 2,000-yard mark for the year.
He came into today with over 1,800 yards rushing. We can check his exact numbers to coming into today. On the second down play, that's Brinker again. He'll get maybe 1 or 2. They'll mark him up to about the 27, 28-yard line. Brinker entered today with 1,877 yards, so he's still just shy of the 2,000-yard mark for the season. I believe we said, he had 103 yards rushing in the first half.
And he had a 4-yard loss that early on in that first series, or in this series.
So he's over the 1,900-yard mark for sure here in the 97 season, and he is closing in on 2,000 yards rushing. A big third down play here, though, 3rd and 4 from the 28. They need to get it just across the 30. They need it to be just about shy of the 32-yard line. Ray to the air. Behind his receiver, Yourkovich that time. He had him open. In fact, he was nearly wide open that time, but the ball was just behind him that time, and Yourkovich really could not make an adjustment on the ball with the slick conditions that he's trying to get some footing in. You'll see it here on the replay.
You'll see the ball delivered a little bit earlier than what he was expecting the ball, and of course he couldn't stop and turn around in that portion of the field, and so the ball went on by.
And he was wide open.
Wide open.
Had he caught that ball, he would have had some great running room. Chad Coyne now will have to attempt a punt. He'll be standing inside his own 15-yard line when he accepts the snap. Snider and Materkoski are back deep. Pretty good snap. Nearly blocked that time. Gets off the shot of his foot. It'll take a Martins Ferry bounce over the 50 and over the 45. And it'll finally be down at about the 41-yard line. Good pressure that time up the middle. In fact, Tom Poe from his defensive tackle position nearly got one of his big hands on that punt that time off the foot of Chad Coyne. Well, Coyne does get it out of there, but still Bellaire is going to be blessed with great field position to start their first drive of the second half here off their 41-yard line. Let's go down to our Mike Anthony. He's on the Martins Ferry sideline. Mike?
Well, Scott, the second half hasn't started quite like the first half for Martins Ferry. Chad Brinker was virtually unstoppable in those first two possessions. This time, Bellaire made some adjustments at half, and they're putting about 7 or 8 guys up on that front line and stopping Brinker.
Here goes Lekanudos, breaks a tackle. He's at the 40, 35-30, 25-20. Brinker tries to run him down from behind. He does. Over the 10, though, and out of bounds at about the 7. There's that speed from Clint Lekanudos that we talked about earlier in the ball game. They'll use him both as a tailback and also as a wide receiver at times out of the backfield. And there he shows that blazing speed going down the sideline.
Yeah, Bellaire goes back to the running game here, and he steps up inside and then turns on the Jets after he breaks a tackle right there and almost goes the distance, brought down by Chad Brinker from behind.
Brinker with a touchdown-saving tackle at the 6-yard line. First and goal, Bellaire at the 6. Lekanudos and Materkoski split out wide to the near side. Rolling is Masciarelli, looking. Has Materkoski wide open in the back of the end zone, runs it and goes out of bounds. Materkoski was wide open back by the goalpost. Masciarelli never saw him, however, and runs out of bounds. Inside and over the 5 and out of bounds at about the 3-yard line. Materkoski was jumping up and down with his hands waving in the air, but Masciarelli just never caught a glimpse of him.
I think Ty did not see him, and I think he thought he could maybe turn the corner and take it on in himself.
Goes out of bounds at the 3, so it'll be second and goal from there. 7:48 is the time remaining in the third quarter. Bellaire's already leading by 11, 24-13. This would be a tough touchdown for Ferry to take at this point of the ball game, but still plenty of time remaining. Lekanudos, he is into the end zone, touchdown. Clint Lekanudos goes in from 3 yards out and make it 30-14 in favor of Bellaire as we await the extra point try. Just a straight dive this time with Lekanudos.
Right up the middle, you'll see Ty hand off to Lekanudos. Another great block up front by Jimmy Preston. He had a great block on the run before that broke Lekanudos down the sidelines.
Martins Ferry got a hand on him, but they just couldn't bring him down to the point of attack that time. Homer on to attempt the point after try. Snap is good, the hold is down, the kick is up, and it is good. So it's 31-13 now in favor of Bellaire. Let's go down to the Martins Ferry sideline with our Mike Anthony. Mike?
Hey, thanks, Scott. I'm with a former Martins Ferry alumnus, Corey Delguzzo, now playing baseball at Ohio State. How are things over at Buckeye Land?
Well, so far so good. I made the cut, which is pretty good. So some of the people that were on scholarship over there, though, most of my good friends that were on the team too didn't make it.
Your Buckeyes are at Michigan State, so I know you couldn't miss this. And your Purple Riders are in a little bit of trouble right now, 31-13. Can they come back, Mr. Delguzzo?
Oh, I'm sure they can. They got a lot of heart, and they got Brinker out there, and he's one of my best friends here. So.
Great to see you back, Corey Delguzzo, Ohio State baseball player. Thanks for stopping by. Back to you, Scott.
All righty, Mike, good to see him back here, and great to hear that he's going to be playing baseball for the Buckeyes, as he said, made the cut. Wish him nothing but the best. But right now, his Purple Riders need to get something going. Snider puts his foot to it. High kick that's going to come down and be returned here. Picked up back deep and coming straight up the middle is number 20, Danny Jones. He'll get over the 25-yard line and mark him down at about the 27, I think. But this is a key opportunity right here for Martins Ferry. They need to get some sort of drive put together, and maybe even if they don't come out of here with points, they at least need to sustain the drive and keep the Bellaire offense off the field, and at least if they do have to punt, try and pin them back deep in their own end.
That's exactly right. You know, that mishandled kickoff was a real downfall for Martins Ferry there on that last drive. It gave them poor field position. Have a little better field position here, but as you said, Scott, they need to get something going offensively.
Yourkovich in motion back to the near side. Eye set behind Freddie Ray. Deep handoff to Brinker. Breaks a tackle at the point of attack that time, deep in the backfield, and has to struggle just to get back to the line of scrimmage, but he does. Shouldn't be a loss that time on the play, and no gain, however.
Scott, we're seeing this second half. This Bellaire Big Red defense is coming alive, and they're coming off the football. And that time, very fortunate for Martins Ferry that a fumble didn't occur there because they had some people in the backfield.
see here on 2nd and 10 what they elect to go to. They've had success throwing the football this afternoon.
Yes, they have.
And we'll see if they elect to go back to that here or not. They'll send 2 wideouts, Coyne and Yourkovich, to the near side. I sat again behind Ray on 2nd and 10. They will put the ball in the air. Freddie Ray coming to the near side. Has Yourkovich. He's tripped. And I think we're going to have a penalty. We're going to have pass interference. Or at least a tripping penalty. Either a tripping penalty there or pass interference, one or the other, and I think we'll go as pass interference.
Yeah, that's going to be an interference call on Bellaire, and that's going to get them out of the hole a little bit, give them a first down.
Big play that time for Martins Ferry. You saw Yourkovich making his cut, coming back to the near side, and he was tripped. So a good call by the officials that time. And a big play really for Martins Ferry. Gets them out of their own end and moves the ball up a little closer to midfield. It'll be placed now at the 42-yard line of Martins Ferry. So about a 15-yard gain on that penalty, which it obviously is, 15-yard penalty. Split backfield behind Freddie Ray. Quick handoff this time right up the middle to Brinker. He'll get over the 45 to about the 46 or 47. That's a gain of close to 4. We'll call it 2nd down and 6. Clock winding now. Under 6.5 minutes to play here in the 3rd quarter. Ferry trailing 31-13, but as they showed in the 1st quarter, they have a quick strike offense that has the ability to score from almost any point on the field. In fact, the last time they were faced with a situation with the ball sitting on their own 46-yard line, Chad Brinker ran one off for 54 yards. I said again this time behind Fred Ray. Quick toss back to Brinker, trying to get to that sideline. Bottled up this time and no gain. Right back to the line of scrimmage. Ryan Snider, number 28, in on the tackle that time. Helps bring him down. Along with number 35, Taylor, also in on the tackle as well for Bellaire.
Here again they go the toss sweep, and again to their left, which basically was the way they ran in the first half predominantly. And here Bellaire's defense again swarms around the ball and stops him for a very short yardage.
And it appears that Bellaire has made several adjustments to that, and they're lining up and being ready for that on that left side. As you said, they're swarming to the football now and getting everybody there right at the point of attack. One man in the backfield behind Ray. On 3rd and 6, looking to put it up. He's got some running room in front of him. He'll have a first down and more. And gets it into Bellaire territory down at the 43-yard line. Freddie Ray has the ability to run with the ball when he chooses to do so. And he showed it there. That's going right up the middle and gets a first down.
Yeah, we talked about Ty Masciarelli from Bellaire dropping back and putting a lot of pressure on the defense. Here, Ray puts the same kind of pressure on Bellaire's defense, running those defensive backs off and then taking the ball up the middle.
1st and 10, so they move the chains. Ball on the Bellaire 43-yard line now. We're down under 5 minutes remaining in the ball game. Clock winding at 4:55 when Ferry comes up to the line of scrimmage. They trail right now, 31-13. They need to get a score here, really, and put themselves right back in contention. Right in the air, has Collette wide open. He's at the 30, 25, 20. Cuts back, and he's over the 15 and down to the 12. Tony Collette out of the backfield that time, makes the reception. He was wide open, as you called, and gets big yardage all the way down to the Bellaire 12.
Here you'll see they run a little bootleg action here. Fake to the other side with Brinker, and then dump the ball out in the flat on a little flood route to Collette, and he takes the ball down in great field position.
They'll mark him down at about the 13-yard line. It'll be 1st and 10 there. 4.5 minutes to play in the 3rd quarter.
As we said earlier, Scott, you mentioned they need to get something out of this drive.
I set behind Ray. Quick toss to Brinker, trying to get to the corner. Bellaire again, swarming that defense. You can see the area is open there, but by the time Brinker gets there and wants to make his cut, Bellaire has already converged, and they're right there to make the tackle.
Yeah, they strung that out pretty good. It looked like as though Ferry had a lot of people out in front of Chad, but Jimmy Preston came to tackle.
So it's 2nd down and called about 8. They'll give him a gain of about 2. Close down to about the 11-yard line.
We talk about a swarm defense. That's exactly what this defense is. It's a swarm defense. There's a lot of the colleges that run this. University of Florida runs it. Youngstown State runs it. Bellaire's run it for several years, and it had a lot of success with it.
2nd and 8, ball on the 11. They need to get to about the 14-yard line for a first down. Brinker right up the middle. Breaks a tackle. He's over the 5 and near a Ferry first down. I think he's going to be just short. They're still going to be about a yard short of a first down. Looks like it's going to be 3rd down and inches. But there you go, Brinker again, that great strength right up the middle.
Just powering it. They pulled the backside guard, number 63, and turned it right upfield. Ryan Leonard did a real nice job leading up in the hole, and Chad shows some power off the left side.
3rd and short, 3rd and about a yard. Clock turning under 3:10 to play, 3:05 in fact, remaining in the 3rd quarter. Obviously they're in 4-down territory here. Power eye set, hand off to Brinker, trying to get outside, and he's going to be stopped short. Knocked down right at the 5-yard line, no gain. 4th down now and about 1. Actually, now it's closer to about 2.5. They lost a little bit on that play. Let's go down to our David Bloomquist on the far sideline. You're right over there, Dave. What's up?
Hey, Scott, something we haven't talked about is the crowd here at the field. It is jam-packed, and I overheard Mike Sherwood, former AD for Bellaire, saying he's been involved with this game for 32 years. He's never seen a crowd this big. He says this is the biggest he has ever seen here for this Bellaire Ferry game.
It is an overflow crowd today. We were mentioning it in the first half with the standing room only behind each end zone. A key play here. 4th down and almost 3 for Martins Ferry. They're going to take Brinker out of the backfield, run him in motion. Ray running to the end zone. Pass incomplete. Intended that time for Nick Yourkovich, and it falls incomplete until Ferry. They came so close. They drove the ball all the way to the 5, but then they come up empty.
Yeah, here you'll see with Brinker in motion going to the right. Freddie Ray slips a little bit, tries to go back to Yourkovich down the middle. Got his hands on it. Materkoski came by and tipped it a little bit and incomplete.
That might have even been tough for him to get both feet in bounds of how he even come down with the reception that time. He got one hand on it, but just couldn't haul it in.
And as we said, Scott, that's tough.
Let's go ahead and take a break. We'll talk more about that when we come back. Right now, there's 2:04 remaining in the 3rd quarter. 31-13 Bellaire on the City of Bellaire Hospital scoreboard. Back with more after this. Ferry needed to get something out of that, but the one thing they did get at least is they have pinned Bellaire deep back in their own end. They will start this drive off on their 5, so if their defense can stand up here and get them the ball back quickly, they should come back out with good field position.
Yeah, they had a nice drive put together there, and I know would have liked to come up with some points and came up a little short. It looked as though they were moving the ball again on the ground pretty well, but Bellaire came up big defensively there, so we'll see what happens.
It's a big defensive opportunity now for Martins Ferry. They really need to hold Bellaire here and get the ball back to allow their offense to try and put some points on the board. 1st and 10, Bellaire. Handoff to Lekanudos. Trying that far side. He'll get maybe 1 or 2. He's over the 5. They'll mark him down at about the 6. It'll be a gain. Actually, it'll mark him over the 10-yard line. Excuse me. They'll mark him up near the 11-yard line. And that's a gain of 4, actually, and it's going to be 2nd down and 6. There you see quarterback Freddie Ray on the sidelines. Played a good ball game so far this afternoon. Halftime, we had 7 turnovers between the two teams. Ferry had 4, and Bellaire had 3, but in these kind of conditions, it's really something we expected coming into the ball game. Obviously, you'd like to eliminate them, but when you're playing in the conditions these teams are playing in, you can expect it. Putting the ball up is Masciarelli. Intended that time for Richie Materkoski, and it goes incomplete. Nick Yourkovich on the coverage that time. Incomplete pass. So it's going to be 3rd down and 6. This is a key play now for the Martins Ferry defense. They need to hold them here and force them to punt the ball back. There's still 1:23 remaining in the 3rd quarter. So a stop and score here, put them right back in the ball game with still about 12 minutes to play. Bellaire would love to get a first down, keep this drive alive. Ferry needs to stop them. 3rd and 6 from the 10. Masciarelli rolling, looking, has a man wide open, but he leads Quinn Campbell just a little too far, and the ball falls incomplete, stopping the clock with 1:18 remaining in the 3rd quarter. So Martins Ferry will get the ball back. And here's the replay. Had him, he was wide open.
Yeah, wide open. You see they ran off the outside man and tried to dump the ball off to Quinn underneath, and he was wide open, but just a little bit out of his reach.
It's a little too far, and it goes out of his reach, as you say, and falls incomplete. Don Cash and Nick Yourkovich are going to drop back deep to receive this punt from the foot of Richie Materkoski.
And if they can catch the football, they should be in fairly good field position here to start another drive.
You know, talking about the slippery conditions, the punt is something that can be very difficult in a game like this. A low line drive that comes back to Cash. He's at the 45, trying to turpin upfield, and he'll be knocked down at the 40-yard line. So Martins Ferry will have fantastic field position now to start this drive off. 1st and 10 on the Bellaire 40-yard line, and they still have some time remaining in the third quarter. There's a minute 7, in fact, remaining on the clock. So Ferry will get it right back, and another opportunity to put themselves a little bit closer to that Bellaire 31.
With the clock winding down here in the third quarter, Scott, it's very, very important that they do get something on the board here soon, because if they turn the ball back over to Bellaire, Bellaire sustains any kind of a drive, gets some points, it's going to put them in a very awkward position.
They need to get something out of this drive. We would almost suspect they need to put one in the end zone, already trailing right now by 18 points. Fumble on the snap, but Freddie Ray was able to just dive right back on top of it and keep possession for Martins Ferry. Aaron Chirpas from his nose guard position had a shot at it, but Ray was just a little bit quicker that time and was able to just dodge right back on top of the football.
And ironically, although going the other way in the first half, they fumbled the football right there in that about the same identical spot.
You're right. And that is really, there's not a good part in between the hash marks, really, where if the ball's placed there, other than if you're on about the 15-yard line or inside that area or somewhat like that, the hash mark area of the field is just completely ripped to shreds.
Wiped out.
It's tough on that center to quarterback exchange. 2nd and 10 now. Ray does get a clean snap this time. Pressure, though, from Bellaire, and he's going to be dropped down and knocked back for a huge loss. Clint Ostrander gets back in there and drops him back over midfield, back to the Ferry 49-yard line. It's a huge loss for Martins Ferry.
A big defensive play here by Ostrander. Uses hands real well. He's looking for some place to run. There's no place to go because Ostrander stepped right up and made the big play. Has done a nice job stringing things out on the sweeps all day long.
Folks, that's going to bring an end to the third quarter of play. Bellaire is leading right now. They're 1 quarter away from completing another undefeated campaign here in the All-American town. Let's go ahead and take a break. 31-13 on the City of Bellaire Hospital scoreboard. Back with fourth quarter action right after this. Go ahead and punt it back. There it is on the replay. You see Ray just forced to tuck it and run due to the coverage downfield.
He had Tim Weaver there, and he almost dumped the ball to him, but he elected to tuck the ball away and run with it. But still got just around 10 yards to go to pick up a first down.
And on 4th and 11 from the 41, they will elect to go for it, down 31-13. There's 11 minutes and 20 seconds remaining in the ball game. Huge play here for Martins Ferry. They need to pick up a first down. They'll fake the handoff to Brinker. Ray gonna heave it downfield. Has Coyne there. And catches it. Chad Coyne stays in. Or no, he's out of bounds at about the 2. But it'll be 1st and goal, but there's a penalty flag. Hold the phone. Back at the 41-yard line, and we have holding against Martins Ferry. Oh.
That is a backbreaker for the Purple Riders.
They would have had 1st and goal from the 2, but there's a holding penalty at the 41. Here's a replay. Don't think we'll be able to see the hold because we're focusing on the pocket. But just a great ball delivered by Freddie Ray. Great concentration. And Chad Coyne goes out at the 2-yard line, but it's all for naught. They'll mark it off 10 yards from the spot of the foul. They'll move it back to the 49-yard line of Martins Ferry. And in fact, to bring up about a 4th down and 20 situation from the 49. And now they're going to elect to punt the ball. Boy, what a change of scenery there. And I guess what a huge play in the ball game. It could have been 1st and goal. Instead, they have to punt on 4th and 20 from their own 49. Coyne puts his foot to it. Wobbly kick that'll come down to Materkoski, and he goes to his knees at his own 14-yard line.
Yeah, that was a big turnaround right there. As you said, Scott, they would have had the ball on Bellaire's 2-yard line, an opportunity to get a score at the beginning of the final 4th quarter and get back in the ball game. And a big penalty right there. And we talked earlier about, you mentioned that the start of the second half had 7 turnovers in the first half, and penalties were a problem in the first half, and here's a big one that's going to probably come back to haunt very big time.
Tough penalty for them to take right there. Their defense, though, needs to stand up and get them the ball right back. Masciarelli fakes the handoff, now rolling. Wants to go downfield, has nowhere to throw it, so he's going to run with it. He's over the 30 and out of bounds at about the 35, but there's a penalty flag back at the 10-yard line.
I think we're going to see another holding call. No, it was a clip.
It's going to be a clip call against Bellaire, so they're going to bring the ball back. And is that Masciarelli on the file? Oh, my goodness. Look at that mess.
It's really bad in the middle of the field, and I think it's worse on the sideline.
It is right over there. You can see the puddles, and we'll watch it here.
Yeah, nice misdirection here. Nice play, or fake, play action fake by Ty. And then he gets outside again, picks up a block right here, and is knocked down in the mud.
I have to turn the old windshield wipers on there to get the mud off the windshield there. Clipping on Bellaire, and they'll put him back inside the 10-yard line, back inside the 5. Let's go down to our David Bloomquist. You didn't get any of that mud splattered on you there, did you, Bloomer?
Hey, that's what I was going to talk about. I've done a good job dodging it over here. Masciarelli just got soaked. He had to take off his helmet and wipe the mud off his face. But so far in this game, the guy who has gotten soaked the worst is John Magistro. Coach got nailed in the first quarter, absolutely drenched, and he refused to towel, showing his true grit.
There you go. 1st and 18 after the penalty. Handoff in the backfield, goes to Rock. Fumble! It's on the field, but Bellaire's able to get back on top of it. Oh, Martins Ferry had a great opportunity right there, but they can't come up with it. Ryan Snider, number 28, is the man who's able to get back on top of the ball. We'll see it here on the replay.
Yeah, nice hit right here, and the ball came loose. And Ryan Snider came in and dove on the ball. That could have been a big turnover.
Just kind of laid there almost for a second. The players didn't even realize, I think. And once they did, Snider was the first man who was able to get there and gets back on top of it. Boy, that could have been a huge play for Bellaire to lose the ball that deep in their own end. And a huge play for Ferry to be able to pick it up there. But nonetheless, it's now 2nd and 13. Fake the handoff. Masciarelli wants to throw. Now he's looking to run with it. Still looking to throw. He's going to unload it. Has Materkoski wide open, but he dropped the ball. He was wide open at about the 33-yard line and just couldn't come down with it. I think he was, as they say, took his proverbial eye off the ball that time to see how much room he did have in front of him.
They ran this play earlier in the first half. They faked the draw up the middle. Ty starts to scramble his right, goes back to his left. Materkoski wide open, and the sure-handed receiver drops that one. It would have been a big game.
You can see Cash and Yourkovich are about the closest defenders to him, and they're at least a good 10 yards away. He would have had plenty of running room. Huge play here, 3rd and 13 from the 10. Ferry needs to stop him and get the ball back. They should end up with good field position if they can. A straight draw on the quarterback keeper here by Masciarelli. Chad Coyne there to apply the tackle. And he'll be stopped well shy of a first down at the 18-yard line. It will give them a little more room breathing-wise to punt the football. They shouldn't be having to stand in their own end zone now. But they will have to punt the ball back over to Ferry, and Martins Ferry theoretically should get great field position out of this kick. They have to, however, start to take advantage of these opportunities that are in front of them.
You're right, Scott. They can't, the clock's winding down here, and they have to get a drive going and try to get something on the board if they're going to get back in this ball game.
We're down to 9:15 remaining in the ball game right now. Officials timeout. That's Ty Masciarelli, who's over there, down there taking a knee. We'll try and find out what his situation is. Well, let's go ahead and take a break. Back with more fourth quarter action right after this. It's 31-13 in favor of Bellaire as you check it out on the City of Bellaire Hospital scoreboard. Back with more after this on the News Channel 7 Game of the Week. Welcome back, everybody. Nelson Field in Bellaire. We should tell you that Ty Masciarelli did make it off the field under his own there, walking off on the sideline. Probably just had the wind knocked out of him. Did take a hard hit that last time when he carried the ball. Boy, that punt nearly blocked. Coming up to it is Yourkovich, and boy, a dangerous play there. Whew. He nearly lost the ball and lost the handle there, but he is able to get on top of it, and here they go again, starting out on the 40-yard line like they did the last time after they forced Bellaire to punt from deep in their own end. Can they take advantage of this opportunity? They need to with only 9:07 remaining. They need a score here quickly. And that is the report we get from the far sideline from our David Bloomquist. The wind was just knocked down of Ty Masciarelli. He's fine. We'll see him back out there. Next time Bellaire has the football, I'm sure. Freddie Ray back to pass. Pressured. Going to get it underway here. Going down for Chad Brinker. Can't make the catch. He's out of bounds anyways. Freddie Ray, I tell you what, this is a kid who I think has been overlooked by a lot of people. He has one heck of a strong arm. A lot of these balls, he's got a guy hanging on of his leg, and he's throwing off of his back foot, and he's still throwing the ball 40, 50 yards downfield.
Yeah, he's showing a lot of poise all day long, standing in the pocket, stepping up, scrambling at times. He's done a real nice job under, as we've mentioned earlier, adverse conditions and getting that ball downfield. And Ferry basically going to have to go away from, because of the time factor, that running game. They may be able to run it here or there, but they're going to have to throw the football if they're going to get back into things there.
And Brinker can be used as a wide receiver. He's had good efforts this year at catching the ball out of the backfield. And you saw in that time they did intend to pass for it. Ray going down the sideline as a man, a little too tall though, as it goes out of bounds. Intended, I think, for Donnie Cash that time, as it goes over his head and out of bounds. And that's Dan Jones, actually, I think, number 4. No, it is 22. I'm sorry, excuse me, Don Cash. And he's down on the field right now. Looks like he might be having a little problem with the little tightness in his legs. Tried to come down with a catch and just was unable to. Ball was thrown a little bit out of bounds. Might have had not had an opportunity to come down with a reception anyways. So it goes out of bounds and it's incomplete. Stops the clock now with 8:52. Let's go back down to our Mike Anthony. Mike?
Reese. I just got the latest scoop from Evan Reese down here, the biggest Martins Ferry fan of all time. He says if they can score soon, there's still plenty of time. So Evan is still hanging in there with the Purple Riders, although they're faced with 8:52 left to go. But Butchie is still not giving up.
I would expect nothing but that from him, and he'll be in there, win or lose or draw or whatever the case would be. He's at every Martins Ferry sporting event that you would attend, and he's always cheering them on. And you see Cash making it off the field under his own power there. Coach Dave Bruney right along his side, walking him off the sideline. 3rd and 10 now, ball on the 41-yard line. The Riders need to get to the 31 for a first down, obviously, but they need to put something in the end zone and get a score on the board here, trailing 31-13. High set backfield. Coyne to the top side, Yourkovich to the bottom side. They're going to run the ball with Brinker. Trying to turn it upfield. Brinker breaks one tackle, but he won't break the second. He gets down to about the 36-yard line, and I think there they really just try to cross him up a little bit, expecting him to pass the ball. And they go with a quick toss out of the backfield, and Brinker does go for a gain of 4, but he brings up 4th down and 6 now.
They give this Bellaire Big Reds defense a lot of credit, Scott. They've really come alive, especially in the second half, and they've done a fine job shutting down an excellent running back in Chad Brinker and a good offensive football team in Martins Ferry.
The only problem with the running play is the clock continues to wind, and we're now down to 8:14 to play in the ball game. And Ferry's faced with a 4th and 6. This could be the ball game right here if they don't pick up first down. Ray looking to pass. Really nowhere to throw it. He's going to try and run it for the first down. He's going to be stopped short. Freddie Ray had nowhere to throw the ball that time. Good coverage downfield by the Bellaire defense. Then once he did try to turn it up, really nowhere to run it either. Got a couple of yards, but that's it. It'll be a turnover on downs, and the ball will go back to Bellaire on their own 37-yard line. Actually, on their own 36-yard line.
He had time to throw the ball there, but good coverage in the secondary by the Bellaire defensive secondary. They were all over the receivers, and there wasn't anybody to throw the ball to.
So 7:57 remains in our ball game now. Martins Ferry is trailing Bellaire 31-13. Bellaire with the football now. And there is Masciarelli right back in there as we had expected. Throwing the ball to Jimmy Preston, who's wide open. He has a first down and knocked out of bounds at about midfield. In fact, they'll mark him out at about the Martins Ferry 49-yard line. That'll be a gain of nearly 16 yards. And it's a first down. And that's what Martins Ferry could not have happen. They could not allow Bellaire to pick up first downs and move the ball down the field. And Jimmy Preston was just wide open out of the backfield that time.
Yeah, again, a little crisscross action here. And Preston comes out of the backfield. Ty drops the ball off to him. Pick up a big first down.
1st and 10, ball over the 50 at the 49 of Martins Ferry. Masciarelli hands it off to Roth. Roth, big running room. A gain of about 8 that time on the carry, and he goes face first into the old mud puddle on the far sideline. It'll bring up second down and short. We'll call it second down and 2. And here it is with Roth.
And you'll see here every time the runners or receivers go out of bounds that side, they're going to get a little mud bath.
Woo. You gotta take the mud out of your eye after something like that. And boy, look at the, I don't know if we can get a shot of the yardstick over there, the far yardstick.
It's covered.
It used to be orange. It isn't any longer. Look at that. He dropped it and did a quick back pedal. You're supposed to drop it anyway to a prevented injury, but I don't blame him nonetheless just to get out of the way of that mud. That's Lekanudos for a first down. They'll move those dirty chains down the field. The chain gang should probably get double time pay today for having to stand in those mud puddles all day. That yard marker may not make it through the rest of the day. It's not feeling so well right now. Everybody else in the All-American town's feeling pretty good about this one right now. 7:25 to play in the ball game. Their team's up 31-13 and driving again. Lekanudos and Materkoski split out wide to the near side. Roth and Preston are in the backfield behind Masciarelli. They'll fake the handoff. Masciarelli rolling, wants to throw. Forced in the backfield, and he's going to just eat it and go out of bounds. Loses about 7 yards back to the 45. So it'll be second down and 17 from that point.
That time Ty couldn't find anybody to throw the ball to, and he was surrounded and he couldn't get out. He kind of made a couple little moves there, but he couldn't get loose and took the loss.
And that is Evan, who Mike was talking about earlier. Still fired up. Wearing his game face as always for the ball game. Ferry fan through and through. 7 minutes remaining in the contest. 7:01 to be exact. 31-13 is our score. Bellaire now with a second down, and we'll call it 18 now. Masciarelli to throw. Going downfield, has Materkoski, makes the catch. Richie Materkoski out of bounds at about the 24-yard line. First down, Bellaire. Huge catch from Materkoski.
You'll see on the replay right here, Bellaire executing the passing game to perfection. Nice routes and nice delivery by Ty Masciarelli. Nice blocking by the offensive line, and he makes the catch. The presence of knowing exactly where he needed to go to get the first down.
Seems as if, too, he's getting a better grip on the football here in the second half than he was really in the first half. And giving him an opportunity to really put the ball in there more like he's been doing throughout the entire season. Not as much air under some of these passes as he had in the first half when we were playing in a rain. Down to 6:20 remaining in the ball game. Pitch to Roth in the backfield, trying the left side. He'll get out of bounds over the 20 at about the 18-yard line.
You know, Scott, I've seen a lot of football in the last 30 years or so here in the Valley, and Bellaire executes their passing game with perfection. They got a lot of different ways that they can hurt you with that passing game. They can hurt you deep, they can hurt you short, they bring people out of the backfield, and then about the time you try to shut down that passing game, then they'll slip a running play in there. Just a great job done by Bellaire's staff.
And it's really been, I think, the offense that does it. It's not just the players. They've had great players, don't get me wrong there, like a Jose Davis and now a Ty Masciarelli, but the offense has done great wonders over the last 5 years and whatnot with whoever's been in there at the position. So the coaching staff does a great job to get these kids prepared week in and week out. There's Lekanudos going for a first down, and they'll move the chains again. They're down over the 15-yard line and down near the 14-yard line. It'll be first and 10 from there. We're down to 6:05 remaining in the ball game. And how about this? The series all-time is 48-35 in favor of Bellaire. There have been 7 ties in this series. This is the 91st meeting. Bellaire is going for their 3rd consecutive undefeated regular season, and they're also looking to make now their 3rd straight trip to the Ohio State playoffs, and they're also looking for their 5th straight OVAC Class 3A title.
I'll tell you, Scott, people don't realize the magnitude of that. When you talk about one undefeated season, that is something in itself. When you talk about 3 straight in a row, that's just, you know, almost unparalleled. It's just an outstanding accomplishment these athletes here at Bellaire in this football program.
And it'll run their regular season winning streak now to 30 with a win today. In fact, we mentioned their last regular season loss happened in 1994 in the season finale against Martins Ferry that year. They lost 35-27. Not going to happen today. Lekanudos on his feet. Touchdown. Clint Lekanudos goes in from 8 yards out. And Bellaire strikes again. It's now 37-13. And they're going to put a cap on this third consecutive undefeated regular season in Bellaire.
Not to be denied right there. He took it up the middle, broke several tackles, and he could sense the end zone and took it in for the score.
Just a great effort that time from Clint Lekanudos to get it into the end zone for the touchdown. Justin Homer now on to attempt the point after touchdown try. The kick is up, and it is good. That'll make it 38-13 now in favor of Bellaire. We've got 5:01 remaining in our ball game. Let's go ahead and take a break. Back with the remainder of the fourth quarter right after this on the News Channel 7 Game of the Week. Everybody to Nelson Field in Bellaire. The Big Reds receiving a standing ovation from their crowd as their fans can sense that they're about ready to put the Caps on a third consecutive undefeated regular season after the 5-yard touchdown score from Clint Lekanudos. Short kick comes up to Chad Brinker. The return up to the 30-yard line where he is put down hard that time on the return. And that's where Martins Ferry will start off here. In fact, it was Tony Collette on the return that time. Let's go back down to our David Bloomquist. David?
Well, Scott, it might be safe to start talking about next week as far as playoffs go. And one guy who's looking forward to next week is Chris Lednick. He was the backup quarterback for Bellaire. He was going to start at wide receiver. He tore some knee ligaments. He's been out for the year, and I was just talking to him as a junior. He'll probably be the quarterback next year, but he was saying his knee feels good, and he might get some action next week. And that would be in the playoffs. So Chris Lednick out all year, and he's looking to get in there, and that's good to see a guy come back from a knee injury like that.
And we hope nothing too serious here with Chad Brinker. Was looking to make a cut there on that run, ran into one of his own men, and we hope there's nothing too serious here with him here. You saw him go right down. He almost just came to a complete stop.
You'll see here, Scott, he takes a direct shot on the knee after breaking through the line of scrimmage, and you could tell he pulled up lame right at that instant.
Hit
right there, he took
knee
a
to
shot.
knee with another one of his own players.
Right on the inside of the knee.
And just went right down, and boy, we just hope that's nothing too serious. A gifted athlete like Chad Brinker. And he's down on the turf right now. You see him there. Coach Bruney is out there, and he's now up. He's going to be all right, I think.
He's a tough kid.
Makes it off and gets a standing ovation from everybody here at Nelson Field, and much deserved. He's a special athlete and a special kid as well. We've had him as an athlete of the week several times at News Channel 7, and every time we interview him, just a true gentleman and a very good young man, and we hope nothing too serious on the injury there, and we wish him nothing but the best. He's been a pleasure to watch through his career at Martins Ferry High School, and he is a special athlete.
This young man, Chad Brinker, has had an outstanding year this year and an outstanding career at Martins Ferry, and dedicated to this game. And you know, I read an article not too long ago what he did as far as going to a reserve game and helping out the younger kids after the loss to River, and that shows the courage of this young man, what kind of kid he is.
They wanted to throw a reverse pass that time with Yourkovich, nothing doing, so Yourkovich tucks it under and tries to run it back over this way to get some positive yardage. He'll actually lose a little bit that time, and it's going to bring up third down now and about 7. Loss of about 2 on the play. And Brinker is still being worked upon down on the bench area, in fact. And here it is again on the replay. We'll show it to you one more time. And you can watch it. Number 23, J.R. Thomas, right here. His right knee and Brinker's right knee just kind of meet right there. You see, and watch Brinker just come almost to a complete stop and then went down. Fred Ray to the air. Nowhere to throw. It's going to try and run it. Eludes one tackler, but won't get away from the other. He's pulled down after a short gain that time and pulled down by Tom Dyer. After a short gain, it's going to be fourth down now at about 3. And the ball is placed at about the 38-yard line. You can see now that Brinker is actually up and walking around on the sideline, and I think our Mike Anthony might have a little more. Mike?
Well, Scott, it was his knee, and on the initial hit, he sort of just stopped. I thought it was his shoulder or collarbone initially, and then when he went down, he was grabbing his knee. They brought him over here, and they put him on the bench, and they worked on his knee. I think it was just knee-to-knee contact, like you said. He's walking around now, and I'm sure it's not serious. He's fine. He's walking around.
And he's up right behind the coaches, telling him, put me right back in. I'm ready to go. Fourth down, pass to Yourkovich is caught for a first down up to midfield. Boy, when he first threw that, I thought it was just going to sail right over his head. But it's there. He comes down with a reception and makes the catch.
Yeah, a little slant route here. Yourkovich was slanting over the middle, and the ball was up a little bit instead of on the line, but he made the catch.
Brinker, you see him right there on our shot talking with Coach Bruney, telling him his knee's just fine. He wants to get back in the ball game. And, you know, you would expect that out of a competitor like Chad Brinker. He wants to get back in there and play. And, you know, the senior wants to have an opportunity to play all the downs he can here in his final year. And now coming down to the final 2 minutes of his high school career. Ray over the middle, tipped and intercepted. Intercepted by, that time, Clint Lekanudos, but it was tipped by Jeremy Kochi. Made the tip and allowed Lekanudos to come down with the interception.
Nice defensive play right here. You'll see on the replay. Ball's tipped up in the air. That's the old tip drill you work on in summer practice time and time again.
And so now Bellaire will take back over, ball on their own 39-yard line, and they're going to go to the bench and bring a lot of the youngsters on here to give them an opportunity to play. So time to get the old roster out here. Quick toss in the backfield goes to Roger Peters, and he is knocked out of bounds. Clock is winding, so he must not have gotten out of bounds. 2:05, and we have to make our Belmont Savings Bank players of the game announcements coming up here. And we're going to have to talk about that and decide upon who we think from each side. I think it's pretty easy as to who we want to go with for each side.
You mentioned Chris Lednick. He's in there quarterback right now, Scott.
He is in there, and he's getting an opportunity to play right now. Quick pitch there in the backfield, little mishandle. Peters gets on top of it and does come down with it. Third down now, and clock winding under a minute and a half. Third down now and about 8. Ball moved back to about the 40-yard line. And we've got a minute 15 remaining in the ball game. And Bellaire looking for their third consecutive undefeated regular season and another trip, their third consecutive trip back to the Ohio high school playoffs. And they hope what will be a third shot at another state championship in Division 4. We're under a minute to play, down to 55 seconds now, in fact. Carry that time was number 20, Ob Nolan. Clock winding now down to 40 seconds remaining in the ball game. Martins Ferry with the loss will fall to 8-2. They were 5th this week in the Ohio high school computer ratings. A loss, I don't want to say they're completely out. Stranger things have happened, and they could get a lot of bonus points from teams that they've beaten throughout the year as well this weekend, and some other teams in front of them could lose. And so we're just going to have to wait on that. We'll have all that information for you Sunday on the news with Mike Anthony. Make sure you tune in for that, and as well for the sports page Sunday night.
Yeah, you never know until Sunday, and they let you know who made it and who didn't. And,
so we don't want to draw a conclusion and say that that's it, but they will fall to 8-2 with the loss. And there you see Coach Magistro getting the ice bucket over there. The Big Reds will improve to 10-0. That's going to be the ball game. We wind it down 3-2-1. The Bellaire Big Reds are undefeated for the third consecutive year. They win today 38-13. That's your final score from Nelson Field in Bellaire. Let's take a break. We'll come back with some post-game remarks right after this. You're watching the News Channel 7 Game of the Week. Everybody, Nelson Field in Bellaire. Scott Nolde and Jay Circosta, head coach Monroe Central, joining us today. Our David Bloomquist is down on the field with the winning coach, John Magistro. Dave, go ahead, take it away.
Thanks a lot, guys. Coach, obviously a huge win here. Your thoughts on the game in general?
Well, I'll tell you what, this was a great ball game, and you got to give Martins Ferry a lot of credit. They played very hard, and we just did a great job today. And as I told you earlier in the game, I thought we were playing a little bit too high for us. You know, for some teams that's good. For us, it's not. And they feed off of my emotions, and my emotions were very high at the beginning of the game. But we settled down, made some adjustments at halftime, and we came out the second half and did a great job.
Now, your big guns played well for you, but two guys in particular who don't get a lot of hype, Jimmy Preston, Quinn Campbell, especially in the first half. Both guys were huge for you.
Very good. I mean, you know, really, we have so many guys that contribute to it, to our football team. It's like any other football team. Some guys get a lot of the limelight, but Jimmy Preston, Quinn Campbell, Kenny Ross, those guys, the interior line, those guys sometimes get by unnoticed in the defense today. You got to give them a lot of credit.
30 wins in a row, regular season. When are you guys going to finally lose one?
I don't even want to talk about that, but you know, we know that the road gets tougher, and I really believe, I told our kids coming in today, this would be the first round of the playoffs, because we had to win, supposedly, to get in. I mean, that's how we approached it, and it's a shame that Martins Ferry 2 years in a row is getting shut out, because, boy, they're one heck of a football team.
Any idea who you might play in those playoffs?
I don't even know. I'll wait for the phone call tomorrow, and they tell you where and where to go get your tapes and all that. That's all I care about.
Last question. Is this the biggest crowd you've seen here for this game?
Wow.
Did you even notice?
You're probably right there. I didn't notice a whole lot. But when we come out and our fans in there, true good fans.
Thanks, Coach.
Football.
Okay, good luck. Scott, back up to you guys.
All righty, Dave, thanks. Great job today. Is Bellaire Big Reds, as you said, win their 30th consecutive regular season game to run their win streak to 30 straight, and are still undefeated in regular season play over the last 3 years, and are headed back once again to the Ohio high school playoffs. As you heard Coach Magistros say there, they felt that they needed to win to get in today, and that's the best way to attack it. You don't want to let somebody else hold your own destiny. You want to take care of it yourself, win, and you're in, and that's what they did here today. A huge win for the Bellaire Big Reds as they stay undefeated. And we haven't made an announcement as of yet as to who our Belmont Savings Bank players of the game are going to be, but Coach and I had decided already that Bellaire's would be Ty Masciarelli, and that's who our David Bloomquist is with right now. David?
Thanks a lot, guys. Ty, you just got named player of the game. Big game for you. Muddy field, how much did it affect you here today?
I mean, it affected both teams. I mean, you could tell it's not that it just affected us or affected the other team. Came out here, I mean, this field was really muddy, but we just sucked it up. And, I mean, we knew Ferry was going to give us a great game coming in, and they did. They're a really tough team. We just gutted it out and final score.
Is this one of your biggest wins for you?
Yeah, I mean, to date it is. I mean, we're the only team ever to, 3 straight undefeated seasons, and we got hopefully 4 more games to go, and then hopefully I can say that that'll be my biggest game, 4 games down the line.
Great. Good luck in the playoffs. I know you got to get over there for the team prayer, so get going. Ty Masciarelli, your game or player of the game. Scott?
All righty, David. And our Martins Ferry player of the game today was going to be Chad Brinker, the senior tailback from the Purple Riders. He had a spectacular game as well today, and wraps up a senior career with another strong performance here today against the Bellaire Big Reds. Let's go ahead and take a break, and we'll be back with some more post-game right after this. Your final score again from Nelson Field in Bellaire, 38-13 in favor of the Bellaire Big Reds as we check it out on the City of Bellaire Hospital scoreboard. Back with more after this. Hey, once again to Nelson Field in Bellaire as we continue with our post-game show here on the News Channel 7 Game of the Week. The Martins Ferry Purple Riders falling today to the Bellaire Big Reds by a final of 31-13. The Big Reds and their regular season with a 10-0 mark. The Purple Riders and their regular season with an 8-2 mark. A couple of tough losses to some very good football teams. They dropped their first game in Week 6 to the River Pilots to give them their first loss of the year, and then that was a 44-37 defeat. And today they fall 38-13, excuse me, to the Bellaire Big Reds. Our Mike Anthony is on the field with Martins Ferry head coach Dave Bruney, and let's send it down to Mike. Mike?
Well, Dave, pretty emotional. You know, Martins Ferry, you were in the game for the first half. The second half, a little different. What happened?
Well, first of all, I'd like to congratulate Bellaire. They've got a great football team, and you know, we thought that we could play with them, and we did. And in the second half, there were some turnovers, and we had a big play and get called for holding, and you know, it goes that way. But you know, I'm not going to take anything away from a great Bellaire football team. Maybe the score could have been a little closer than it was. you know, I hate to say goodbye to 13 great seniors.
Oh.
You know, and that's tough. That's an emotional thing. And, you know, as Coach Magistro knows, you get awful attached to those kids, and you want the best for them, and when it doesn't work out, it cuts you.
One of the seniors is Chad Brinker. Real quick, a couple of kind words about Chad. He leaves you now. He was banged up, and they were really pounding him in the second half, but he was a great performer all throughout his career here.
Well, he's a champion in the truest sense of the word. There aren't enough superlatives to describe that young man. And I can't say too much about him right now or I'll lose my composure.
Wait, very emotional. Thanks, Dave, for taking the time to be with us tonight. Dave, the Purple Riders go down to Bellaire, of course, Big Reds. 30 straight wins, almost unbelievable. It sounds like one of those J. Costa runs. Back to you guys.
Yeah, and the coach is up here with us. And right there, I tell you what, if you're a fan sitting at home and you think all these coaches care about is winning and losing and things like that, if that doesn't tell you what it's all about right there, then you'll never get it. Because right there, that shows you that it's the fact that these coaches are attached to these young men. They want nothing but the best for these young men. And right like that, you hear from Coach Dave Bruney. He's excited about the play of his young men, but he's going to miss all those seniors. And he said those 13 seniors, that's the hardest part about this, realizing that he'll never have them again on his football team to have an opportunity to interact with them. And now they'll move on and do other things in their lives. And, of course, we wish them nothing but the best. And once again, our Belmont Savings Bank players of the game. For the Bellaire Big Reds, it's Ty Masciarelli. For the Martins Ferry Purple Riders, it's number 32, Chad Brinker. Coach, any final thoughts from the ball game today?
Well, Scott, I know exactly where these coaches are coming from. I've been on both sides. Coach Bruney, I know they're very emotional at the end. Very tough to say goodbye to your seniors and know that your season is possibly over. Tough to lose to your #1 rival. On the other hand, they had a great season at 8-2 and a very, very nice football team. And to Coach Magistro, like I mentioned earlier, you know, 1 undefeated season is something. 3 undefeated seasons in a row is just almost unbelievable. And my congratulations to Coach Magistro, his staff, and his players, and I wish them the best. I'd like to see us be able to follow them all the way to Massillon and third time be a charm and get it done and be a state champion this year.
Why not? We'd love to see him get back to that game and bring it home. And there you see it. The Sparky Trophy will be staying in Bellaire for another year as the Bellaire Big Reds get a 38-13 win today over the Martins Ferry Purple Riders. And there you see the names of all the guys who helped put the game of the week on. And we do want to make this one other announcement. Don't forget that our games of the week do not end with this game for this weekend. Our rivalry weekend continues this coming Sunday night, actually later on tonight. In fact, you'll be able to see the Bellsville Blue Devils take on J. Costa's own Monroe Central Seminoles, and that's tonight at 11:45.
Scott, one other thing. Today's my wife's birthday, and I'd like to wish her a happy birthday and allowing me to come up here to do this game.
I know we asked you if you could be a part of the broadcast, and you said, sure, it's my wife's birthday. And, boy, then I figured that she'd be calling the TV station saying there's no way he's leaving the house. But we appreciate her allowing you to be up here, and we wish her a happy birthday as well, and all the best. And we thank you once again, Coach Acosta. It's a pleasure to have you, and always a great thing to have you here on the Game of the Week. You do a fine job with us.
Pleasure to work with you and be here with Channel 7.
All righty, Coach. Your final score once again from Nelson Field in Bellaire, 38-13 in favor of the victorious Big Reds. The Sparky Trophy is staying in Bellaire. Thanks for watching the News Channel 7 Game of the Week.